Are you ready to pray? Let us pray. We praise you, Lord, and we thank you for the opportunity to study and prepare for a good life in the future. Bless our teachers who inspire and guide us. Bless our parents who work hard to support us. Bless our classmates and all the people who care for us. Bless us, help us to be more attentive, patient, and diligent to understand the lessons that our teachers teach us. Bless our beloved country, that we may have unity, peace, and prosperity. This we pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
All right. So once again, good afternoon to all the viewers who stay tuned. You are the living proofs na meron forever, no? Nag-break man, ito kayo ay bumalik din. We all know that we are experiencing a global pandemic right now. And education is in threat, no? But we don't need to worry because thank you to all the printliners, no? Yung mga teachers ngayon are printliners, no? Exerting so much effort to continue education, no? We salute you all po as we start po our afternoon session. We need to hear an inspirational message coming from the CID chief, no? Of course, without further ado, to refuel it, our burning passion, let's hear an inspirational message from the humble and stunning CID chief, Dr. Celia Arla Canlale.
My respect to our OIC Regional Director and concurrent SDS of Schools Division Office of Pampanga, Dr. Nicolas T. Capulong. To our well-loved supervisor, Mrs. Maria Carmen M. Evangelista. To Sir Gary de la Cruz, our principal coordinator for TLE, TVL, select speakers, Patami team, and teachers attending the webinar. Happy and blessed morning to one and all. My respect to our OIC Regional Director and concurrent SDS of Schools Division Office of Pampanga.
Again, a blessed afternoon to everyone. So I'll not hold you so long. I'll give you the next speaker. To give way to an interesting topic about the industrial arts, let's hear it from the teacher tree of San Vicente National High School. And of course, no, assistant niya ay yung kanyang napaka-supportive na principal, my idol, no? Sir Ricky Balingit, I give you Mr. Nandi V. Wanta. All right, Sir Randy.
Randy.
Hello, sir. Kumusta po?
Hello po. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon, sir. Ne? Maya pa Diyos, agap pa na po kasi. Kumusta po?
Yes po. Okay lang po. Tama po yun. Kasama ko po ngayon yung principal po namin.
Right, sir.
He is supporting me all the way po.
I think, sir, you are now ready. So, take it away, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much po, sir. Good afternoon to each and everyone po. My respect goes po to our Regional Director and the concurrent officer in charge of the Office of the Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Nicolas T. Capulong, to the two Assistant Schools Division Superintendent of the Division of Pampanga, Dr. Melissa S. Sanchez and Dr. Shirley D. Zipagan, To the Regional Supervisor in EPP, TLE, and TVL, Sir Reynaldo G. Castillo. And of course, to our dear CID Chief of the Division of Pampanga, Dr. Celia R. Lacanlale. To the two equally able EPSs in EPP, TLE, and TVL, Ma'am Maria Carmen M. Evangelista, and Sir Gary de la Cruz. And of course, to our principal who is supporting me all the way today. He said to me that he will be my assistant for today. Thank you very much po to Sir Ricky C. Balingit. To the hardworking technical working group headed by Ma'am Catherine Pingol, and to my co-speakers and facilitators in EPP, TLE, and TVL, to all the dear participants of this webinar, and those who were not recognized, masaplalanggat parapon po kay Katamungan. Welcome to the afternoon session of this 3-day webinar workshop on pedagogical approaches in teaching EPP, TLE, TVL, MELCs in the new normal. So I am assigned po today or this very hour to present to you the pedagogical approaches in teaching TLE, specifically in industrial arts, and more specifically in electrical installation and maintenance. So I'm Sir Nandi Viwanta from San Vicente National High School in Lubao, Cluster 3. Before we begin po with our webinar proper, let me share to you the objectives of this webinar. At the end of this webinar, the following should have been achieved. The first one, orient the TLE teachers on the appropriate pedagogical approaches in the new normal in education. Identify the industrial arts, specifically in electrical installation and maintenance, the skills that we need to know to be contextualized for distance learning modality. The third one, develop instructional materials designed for distance learning. And lastly, is to identify the different delivery models and online application that can be used on online learning. To start with po, let us have a very simple activity. This activity po has 3 steps. I hope everyone will participate even if I cannot see you po. Don't worry po, this is a very simple activity only. Okay, what I want you to do po is using your index finger of your right hand, this one po, I want you to draw a circle in the air in a continuous manner, just like this one. Okay po, sana po sumusunod po yung lahat kahit hindi po natin makikita and they are watching sa live stream po natin. This will also serve po as an exercise to you dahil kanina pa po tayong umaga nakaharap sa mga laptops and cellphones natin. Kaya maggalaw-galaw po muna tayo ng konti before we start with this webinar. Step number 2, on the other hand po, using the left index finger, draw a triangle in a continuous manner, just like this one. Po. Same speed po, kagaya kanina. And for the last step, pagsabayin po natin ang step 1 and 2. So, pagsabayin po natin, circle dito continuously, and then triangle naman po dito sa kabila continuously. Okay po. So, what have you noticed po? I'm sure hindi po magkasundo ang dalawang fingers natin. We ended up drawing 2 circles, and others ended up drawing 2 triangles. I'm very sure of that po. How about naman po sa mga paa natin? We do the same thing po while we are seated. Draw a circle using the right foot and draw a triangle using the left foot. Tapos pagsabayin po natin. Nasa upuan po tayo, nakaupo. Hindi po tayo pwedeng nakatayo. Hindi po natin mapagsasabay yung mga paa natin sa pagdodraw. So, draw a circle sa gamit po ang right foot natin. Tapos draw a triangle gamit naman po ang left foot natin. And then pagsabayin po natin. What have you noticed po? I'm sure hindi rin po magkasundo ang dalawang paa natin. What is the implication of this in the new normal education? For me, we may have started things differently at the same time. Magkaiba po, di ba? Kagaya po sa education, we started different dahil hindi naman po tayo prepared sa pandemic na to, we started differently. Iba-iba po ang galaw natin. But at the end of the course that we take, we will all end up doing what the new normal requires us to do. And that is to embrace change. As teachers of DepEd, we should always be in harmony with DepEd so that we will achieve our goals, and that is to provide quality education. And no matter how hard the path we take during this pandemic, education must continue. Noong una, iba-iba yung ginagawa natin, di ba po? And then, during the process, magkakaiba-iba pa rin po, magulo, but at the end, nagkaroon po ng harmony. Okay po. I know you already miss this type of activities and setup. We call it as the normal class. To some, they call it as the old normal education. So, makikita nyo po dito yung classroom natin. Our students are busy doing their activities. Di ba po? And before the pandemic begins, we have nakapag-take pa po kami ng picture ng mga students ko before we practice because they are grade 10 students. The usual official start of the school year is every June. Wherein, di ba po, as teachers, we welcome our learners. Darating tayo ng maaga and we will attend our first flag ceremony. I still remember upon entering the shop room, I always write my name on the board. And I will readily give a fun activity to my learners so that everyone will feel welcome. We always greet our students with smile. We always establish routines as we provide them the house rules. And of course, we elect our shop officers. We also explain to them their class schedule and the grading system. And as days go by po, they will have their activities like wiring installation and performance outputs as well. And then they will have their periodic exams. They will be engaged in several activities like nutrition month, celebration, intrams or the intramurals, buwan ng wika, etc., etc. The year will end with the completion rites, and another year will going to start. That is our routine for the past several years until COVID-19 changed it all. Nagbago po ang lahat sa pagdating ni COVID. Mula sa nakasanayan natin noon, ngayon kailangan nating umagapay sa pagbabago ng educational system natin. Before the onset of the coronavirus disease, we always prefix our teaching and learning with what we say, the 21st century learning. Yun po ang uso noon. We used to say or write 21st century teaching, 21st century learning, 21st century knowledge, ano pa po? 21st century skills, and 21st century competencies na pwede pong critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. Those are the words na uso noon. Ngayon, iba na naman po ang usong term sa ating educational setting. With the pandemic, we have a new catchword, the new normal. New normal is a previously unfamiliar or atypical situation that has become standard, unusual, or unexpected. Of course po, ito ay unexpected because no one is prepared for this pandemic, especially our very own schools. The new normal includes din po what are the words na related po sa new normal. We have lockdowns, um, quarantines, we also have masks, washing hands, taking vitamins, a lot of vitamins, covering your mouth whenever you cough or sneeze, social distancing, and of course, we have technology. These are already a must in the new normal society. And in education, the new normal is distance education, just like what we are doing. This is learning wherein homes become the new schools of our children. Just like what you can see on the illustration flashed on your screen, okay, from school, now learning takes place in the homes or in the houses of our learners. There are pros and cons in distance education, but as teachers, we always look on the brighter side of things. Are you familiar with the pictures splashed on the screen? Let's take a quick flashback on what happened these past few months before we had all of these things, especially the new normal education. Yan po yung mga news na nag-circulate, no, sa not not only in the Philippines but around the world. Early this year, the COVID-19 disease forced schools to shut down. The Philippine government made a crucial decision to place the entire island of Luzon under ECQ, or yung tinatawag po nating Enhanced Community Quarantine. As a result po, all activities such as the completion rites, graduation ceremonies, and even na-postpone po is palarong panbansa. They were postponed and were eventually canceled. President Duterte made a bold announcement, if you can still remember po, during one of his public addresses, that there will be no face-to-face classes unless or until a vaccine will be available. In an interview with the Education Secretary, Leonor Briones, aired last May 5, 2020, if you have watched our television, she announced that the school year 2020-2021 will start on August 24, 2020, and will end up on April 30, 2021. According also to the education chief, the decision to delay the school opening was based on extensive consultation with various stakeholders. Many criticisms surfaced after the pronouncement, creating clamors to open the school year on January 2021. If you are familiar with that po, they call it academic freeze. However, Briones put emphasis that the school opening must start from the first week of June but not later than the last week of August based on RA 7977. Dahil po dito, nag-start na mag-prepare ang DepEd kasama ang mga teachers. Gumawa po tayo ng mga learning materials na nakabase sa MELCs or the most essential learning competencies. Following the directives of the President that there will be no face-to-face classes unless a vaccine is available. Hopefully, by January, meron na pong available vaccine. So there will be limited face-to-face teaching. Although we totally understand that decision because our concern is the safety of our children and of course the safety of our learners and of course the safety of the teachers as well. Therefore, schools were mandated to identify which learning delivery modality, actually what learning delivery modality is best suited among our learners. For our next activity po, this activity is entitled Picture Recognition. I want you to guess the learning delivery modality based on the picture that will be revealed on the screen. Let us start po with the first one. You can write your answer po sa ating comment section kahit hindi ko po na monitor. Our technical working group will monitor your answers. Let's start po with the first one. I want you po to recognize what learning delivery modality is shown or being revealed in your screen. Okay, your answer is correct. The answer is face-to-face learning. The Philippine education system merely rely on face-to-face learning, mostly. In here, we can see our learners face-to-face. How about the second picture po? Can you guess? Let's start revealing it. Okay po. Very nice po. You have guessed it. It's modular learning. Modular learning refers to a learning delivery that is in the form of individualized instruction, where learners use self-learning modules or what we call SLMs, either in printed or digital format, whichever is applicable in the context of the learner with the guidance of any member of the family or other stakeholder in the community trained. Of course, they should be trained to serve as learning facilitators. In our division, we have locally developed materials. These materials were made through the initiative of our division personnel and with the help of our teacher module writers. Next po. Let us proceed to the next. Okay po. Very good. It is impressive. TV-based instruction is the correct answer. TV-based instruction refers to the use of television programs on channels dedicated to providing learning content to learners as a form of distance education. In our case, we use TV-based instruction to augment the modular distance learning. Our locally developed SLMs na, na craft po by our division, they were converted po into TV lessons and they are now being aired, if I'm not mistaken, on CLTV Channel 36. One feedback po coming from one of our learners is that they learn more if they are watching teachers teach in the television while they are handling po their modules than just merely reading the module. So in here po, pwede nating i-address yung problem natin sa mga challenge students when it comes to reading. How about po the next picture? Okay, time's up. So you've got the correct answer. Excellent answer. Radio-based instruction is the answer. Radio-based instructions, just like TV-based instruction, and are used to augment learning and online, either online or modular. How about the next picture po? Very good answer. The answer is online learning. What is online learning? When we say online learning, it refers to a learning delivery modality where the teacher facilitates learning and engages our learners active participation using various technologies. Connected, of course, they should be connected to the internet. While the learner and the teachers, the learner and the teacher are geographically remote or separated from one another. And the last picture po, let us reveal. Okay, time's up po. Your answer is also correct. I presume that everyone um, has made comments on our comment section wherein their answers are all correct. When you say blended learning, it's simply a combination of any of the other learning modalities, example, TB-based and modular. Since I am assigned to present to you po industrial arts, the top two choice of the learners and parents in terms of the learning delivery modalities in teaching industrial arts are modular learning and online learning. However, the one that is being adopted by the schools in the division of Pampanga is modular distance learning, either printed or digital. So our division po, alam naman po natin to have crafted self-learning modules or SLMs to be used by our learners. As of now, we are already in the 5th week, if I'm not mistaken, of using the locally developed modules of our division. Self-learning modules are self-contained unit or package of study uh, used by individuals. So individualized po siya. It provides learning activities to learners if face-to-face is not possible. Actually, there is a memorandum from the Office of the Undersecretary, if you are aware, Undersecretary on Curriculum and Instruction, entitled Suggested Measures to Foster Academic Ease During the COVID-19 Pandemic. It says there something about SLMs. It says there that to help reduce the stress and anxiety, schools should determine activities contained in the self-learning modules or learning activity sheets for the first quarter, which may be declared as optional so that the learners will focus only on the most essential activities while allowing the fast learners to perform additional tasks. Additional learning activities may be made available for the fast learners who needs enrichment activities according to the DepEd memo. For the succeeding quarters, learning tasks in the SLMs may be uh, streamlined. No? Babawasan po to ensure that learning development is manifested and that activities or exercises sufficiently cover, develop the learning competencies leading to mastery. Time allotment for completion, submission of activities, task of learners may be reconsidered. At our end, since we TLE teachers have the choice if we will make our modules, provided of course they were quality assured by our superiors, content evaluated, grammar check, and with of course proper layout, or we will use the old modules provided by TESDA or DepEd. Alongside, of course, we need to use learning activity sheets. No? So, dapat yung module po, kasama niya is a learning activities. I have included the parts of the modules and the last, or the learning activity sheet so that you will have an idea on how to craft the module. And the last, the SLMs and the learning activity sheets, of course, they were designed to provide fun and meaningful opportunities for the learners for guided and independent learning at their own pace or time. So, as TLE teachers who crafts our own modules or our learning activity sheets, we need to know this one. What are the parts of a module or the first one is what I need to know. This will give the learner an idea of the skills or competencies they are expected to learn in the module. You can provide one paragraph explaining what the learners will know after going through the module. So explain to them under the what I know part. Next po, what I need to know, I mean, sa una po. And what I know sa second one is also known as the pre-test. This part includes an activity. Alam naman po natin pag nagbibigay tayo ng pre-test that aims to check that the learner already know about the lesson to take. If the learners get all items correctly, they may decide if they will push through with reading the module or they will just proceed with answering the enrichment. If you have noticed po on the module on the sample module, flash on your screen, I included all the lessons under the competency, carry out measurements and calculations. Next, what's in or the review? Yan. This is a brief drill or review to help the learners link the current lesson with the previous one. As you can see, I only included a simple fill in the blanks drill or activity under review. The learners are also guided by the pictures. So parang nagpe-present din po tayo ng lesson when it comes to the SLMs. Next po, what's new? This is the portion where the new lesson will be introduced to the learners in various ways, such as a story, a song. It's up to you po. A problem, an activity, a situation. In my case po, I started presenting the lesson using a scenario where the learner don't know how to measure. I provided dialogue where the other learner will try to help his classmates. Next po, what is it? This section provides a brief discussion of the lesson. This aims to help the learner discover and understand new concepts and skills. As evident in the sample module, I have the word simple. Words are very simple and they are easy to understand. At the same time, I provided several examples. Where are my examples? Yan. I provided several examples, illustrations, and drawings so that the learners will easily understand the lesson. Remember that there is a shift from the teacher taking the responsibilities. Dati po tayo may responsibility para matuto yung mga bata. There is a shift from that to the learner taking this responsibility. So we need to go down really on the level of our learners. And next we have po the enrichment. This comprises activities for independent practice to solidify the learner's understanding and skills of the topic. In the sample module, there are 3 guided activities and 3 independent activities. These are simple activities that will determine if the learners did learn or not. And of course, we should include also reflection. This includes guide questions or blank sentence to be filled by the learners. And next po, we have application. Application, this section provides activities which will help the learner transfer the new knowledge or the skill into real-life situation, lalo na po sa TLE. Next, assessment. Of course, we will going to assess our learners if they learned or not. You provide another activity for that. And next we have what's more. In this portion, another activity will be given to enrich the knowledge or skills of the lesson learned. This also tends retention of learned concepts. And then, of course, one of the most important part of the module is the answer key. This contains learner answers to all the activities in the module. So they are very important po. Since they are self-learning modules po, kailangan meron po silang answer key. Aside from modules, if we will choose to use the old module from DepEd and TESDA, we have to use this or them alongside with the learning activity sheets. What are the parts of the learning activity sheets? They are somewhat similar po to a module, but with lesser portions. Example po, yung name ng student natin, section, and the other important information. And then we have po the title of the learning activity sheet, background information, etc., etc. po. I know you are doing this one already po. Next, aside po sa modular distance learning na ginagamit natin, we can also use online learning to augment the instruction in the modular distance approach. We can use several apps and softwares so that we can monitor the progress of our learners, but not to the extent that we will force, of course, our learners to connect to the internet. This is only optional, but still we can provide instructional supports to our learners with no gadgets and no connections in the internet. Some of the apps or software that we can use in order to monitor our learners or provide additional instructional support to our learners are, we are very familiar with this one, Google Meet, Google Classroom, Google Forms, Quizzes, Easy Talks, Moodle, di ba po, yung learning management system natin together with Google Classroom. Wix.com, we can make free websites for our learners. And Padlet, a bulletin board-like app where we can ask our learners to post answers, di ba po, questions or pictures of their activities and even upload them. Can we try using Padlet po? Maybe we are not yet familiar with this one. For our activity, I want you to upload or post a picture of or selfie while you are watching the live stream so that we will know if you are still watching po. Be able to type your name. Just go to https://tinyurl.com/webinar in TLE. Okay, later po, titignan natin yung mga pictures nila. Ipa-flash po natin sa screen. Okay, how can we maximize the use of the different learning modalities? Of course, we need to consider the different pedagogical approaches in teaching, specifically in our subject TLE. When we say pedagogical approach, we mean a set of principles or beliefs or ideas about the nature of learning which is being translated in the classroom. Basically, ang ibig sabihin po nito ay paano natin ituturo ang isang subject. Actually, this was discussed already in our previous speakers, but I want it to relate po naman sa industrial arts. Lalo na po ngayong new normal, specifically po sa TLE, if not the hardest to teach. Diba po? Ngayong new normal ay one of the hardest to teach. It's because we require our learners to learn not just only the theory, but most especially the skill, the practice, the action, and either in solo or in group. But how can we do that if we cannot see our learners? The first approach is what we call the constructivist approach. Constructivist approach allows learners to be active in the process of constructing meaning and knowledge rather than passive receiving information. It fosters critical thinking and provides learners with a learning environment that helps them make connections with their learning. Kapag ang bata po ay nagiging involved sa construction of knowledge, mas magiging madali ang pagkatuto sa kanya. Example, in EIM, we have lesson on how to interpret wiring plans. If we will use the constructivist approach, we have to provide learning tasks like draw the floor plan of your house and be able to indicate the electrical symbols and interpret them. In here, we do not simply give them a plan for them to interpret. We involve them in planning. The second one is inquiry-based approach. Okay, in here, we allow our learners to solve a specific problem. Example, in EIM, one of the activities or major performance output of our learners is wiring installation. If the wiring installation they made is not functioning, what are you going to do? Ask them to troubleshoot the circuit and look for the problem, and then they will also be the one to solve that problem. In that way po, natuturuan ko sila kung paano mag-investigate at humanap ng sagot doon sa kanilang problem. Next po is reflective approach. Reflective approach adheres po on the saying that experience is the best teacher. We can ask our learners regarding their experiences. In that way po, we can relate in the classroom activities by using their experiences, especially in TLE po, dahil practical subject po tayo at kadalasan na-apply po ng batang kanilang learning sa bahay, ang mga lessons na natutuhan nila sa kanilang daily life. Madali po tayong makakakuha ng experiences sa kanila as response po sa mga questions natin. Example po in IAM, our lesson is about wiring installation. The teacher can ask if they already experience installing at home. Diba? Ask them to make a reflection on that. That is po reflective approach. Next, we have collaborative approach. Learners learn best if they work together. We always do this in our TLE class, especially during the face-to-face class, wherein we assign tasks to our learners to do, especially during major performances like wiring installation. And lastly po, we have integrative approach. We should integrate our specialization on other subjects in our lessons. Example, in wiring installation, the concept of physics is being integrated since we discussed electricity. Next po, how are we going to teach using these pedagogical approaches? Of course, we need to localize and contextualize. Kailangan po natin mag-localize and contextualize. We know how to, we know what contextualize and localization is or are. We will proceed po sa next. As one of the exploratory or specializations offered in junior high school under the subject TL Industrial Arts is Electrical Installation and Maintenance NC2. I personally believe that this is one of the popular specialization under IA because most schools po, no, marami pong nag-o-offer ng EIM, no, under Industrial Arts. In EIM po, this specialization, meron po siyang 640 hours wherein there are 3 competency standards, the basic, the common, and the core. Basic and common competencies are being taught in grade 7, depending on the choice of the school. It is selective and elective in nature. This mini course can be offered in a school depending upon, of course, we need to depend on the human resource or the material resource. According to TESDA, makakapagtapos ng Electrical Installation and Maintenance NC2 ay magkakaroon ng kakayahang magkabit at magmintina ng kuryente, ilaw at iba pang kaugnay na kagamitan kung saan ang voltahe ay hindi lalagpas sa 600 volts sa mga residential or buildings. Ang qualification na ito ay kasama sa competency map ng electrical and electronics sector. Sa Pilipinas, trivia lang po, ang isang electrician ay nakakatanggap ng sweldong 8,000 to 12,000 bawat buwan. Ito po yung average at maaaring umabot ng 15,000 lalo na sa mga highly trained and well-experienced. Sa overseas naman po like US and Canada, the annual average salary ng isang electrician ay 30,378 o 2,531 monthly. Kung i-compute natin po yun sa peso kada buwan, meron po siyang higit kumulang 126,000 kada buwan. So matutulungan po nito ang mga estudyante natin. Now po, teaching this specialization ay medyo mahirap dahil skills ang ating tinuturo. Nadagdagan pa ng malaman natin na walang MELCs na available dahil para sa ating specialization. Several teachers po are asking why is our specialization for grades 9 and 10 don't have MELCs. There are no available modules also. There are also problems like can they offer or can we offer a new specialization in the new normal? These are some of the questions of our colleagues in the department. This is the reason why the Department of Education, through a memorandum entitled Frequently Asked Questions in the Implementation of Curriculum and Instruction Component of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, was made public. Under EPP and TLE, here are some of the frequently asked questions po. Para malinawan lang po tayo, that's why I include this one. Question number 1, are we going to allow a school to offer a new specialization not within a sector? The answer there is the school may offer another specialization within the same sector as long as the permits have been secured from the division for registration in the PMS. Next po, question number 2, are we going to change the offerings not within the MELCs? Curriculum guides for TLE, this one is the answer po. Specializations remain as is. Alam naman po natin yan. Due to the alignment to test the TR. Since there are no identified MELCs for grades 9 to 12, specializations, the existing CGs shall be utilized. Specializations with MELCs are only suggestions for the school year 2020-2021. If you can still remember po, this is what Sir Gary is telling us during the webinar on unpacking the MELCs, that the specialization with MELCs are suggestions to be offered this school year. But it is still up to the school if there are available resources and they have considered the parents, safety, availability of materials, and health. At the same time, we need also to consider the grade 10 learners who already took their competencies in grade 9. Number 3 question po. Can the old competencies and the MELCs be merged in terms of specializations? The answer there is some learning competencies are merged, dropped, and clustered, but not on the specializations. We have MELCs for grade 7 or 8, and some of the competencies there were really merged, dropped, and clustered. But for grade 9 and 10, there are no competencies merged, dropped, or clustered. Next po, if ever a specialization is not included in the MELCs, can the teacher still use the CGs as reference? Of course, they can use the CGs as reference since there are no identified MELCs for grade 9 to 12 TLE or TVL specialization. The existing MELCs or the existing CGs shall be utilized by the teacher. And lastly po, what will happen to the succeeding years for specialization with 640 hours? Siyempre po, they will still be offered next school year because MELCs is only for this school year. Let us start po contextualizing and localizing our competencies for electrical installation and maintenance for grade 7 and 8. Okay? So that we can teach them in the new normal. There are 5 basic and common competencies in EIM 7 or 8, namely, prepare electrical supplies, materials, and tools. Second, perform mensuration and calculation. Third, interpret technical drawings and plans. Fourth, maintain tools and equipment. Practice occupational safety and health is the last one. We will not unpack our MELCs anymore since unpacking of MELCs were already discussed during one of our webinars. The learner's task or performance task which I will share today are just suggestions. If you can think of much better contextualized or localized activities, you can still apply those. Anyway, it will still be based on the context of the learners. You know that under contextualizing and localizing our lessons. The first competency that can be contextualized and localized in this new normal education is reminder lang po, not all lessons can be contextualized. First one, prepare electrical materials and tools for the task. The learner's activity is to, yan po, prepare a list of the electrical tools and materials for a specific job. And the contextualized or localized activity po is to prepare a list of the tools and materials available at home. Watch a video presentation on wiring installation and be able to identify what tools were used. Yan po yung contextualize natin. Next, request appropriate electrical supplies, materials, and tools is our MELC. Use appropriate form in requesting for electrical tools, supplies, and materials is our learner's activity. Our contextualized or localized activity is learners will make an inventory of the tools available at home using the form provided by the teacher. Next po. Carry out measurements and calculations is our third. Most essential learning competency. The learner's activity po is use appropriate measuring device for a specific task. And the contextualized performance task is use any measuring device available at home, a device used for measuring length, and ask the learners to measure the height of switches and convenient outlet. You can also ask them to take a picture while doing the activity. This is to monitor if they are performing the activity, but not forcing other learners without gadget to do so. They can post their photos on your messenger groups or FB groups. You can also utilize Padlet, the one that we had a while ago, as a bulletin board. Next po, the fourth most essential learning competency that can be contextualized and localized is interpret technical drawings and plans. The performance task of the learners is read blueprints of electrical plans, diagrams, and circuits. We can localize or contextualize this if we ask our learners to draw the floor plan or electrical wiring plan of their own homes, but limited only on the living area or any part of the house. Since they are only grade 7 and 8 learners, and these are basic and common competencies, ask them to indicate the electrical symbols on the plan. In that way, they can already interpret technical drawings and plan even if they are at home. Next po, perform basic maintenance is our next most essential competency. The performance task of the learners is to clean and lubricate tools. In the school setting, inside the shop room, there are tools that need to be cleaned and lubricated. However, learners are not inside the schools. Nasa bahay po sila. So we will contextualize and localize their performance activity, and that is to look for worn-out tools at home or on the neighbors or community and be able to apply lubricant or oil whichever is available. Learning by doing is then being emphasized or applied. Precautionary measures should also be observed at all times. The available house partners should have been oriented prior to doing the task to prevent unnecessary accident that might happen to the learners. Next po, sa grade 7 pa rin po, identify hazards and risks. I think this is the last one that we can localize and contextualize. The performance task is, or the learner's activity, list down the hazards and risks in the workplace. Our localized activity asks the learners to think that their homes are their workplace. They have to identify the hazards that they can see around. If possible, they can take a photo of them and be able to send them in their messenger group. The major performance task of the learners can be their learning portfolio. since they are only under the exploratory course, and this one is the last competency or most essential competency. It is not required among the learners to make a major output like wiring installation dahil grade 7 pa lang po sila. What is important is they understand the competencies. Eventually, if they choose EIM as a specialization in grade 9, that's the time that they can produce major performance output. Using those very simple activities, learning will take place inside the homes. And learning will be possible in the new normal, not just for the sake of teaching, but we can provide quality education amidst the pandemic. Let's proceed naman po sa electrical installation and maintenance grade 9. There are 5 core competencies for grades 9 and 10 EIM. The first one is to prepare electrical power and hydraulic tools. Second, perform roughing in activities for communication and distribution systems. Install wiring devices for floor and ground fault current interrupting outlets. Install electrical protection system for lighting and grounding. Install electrical lighting system on auxiliary outlets and lighting fixtures. Let us start with grade 9, electrical installation and maintenance. The first essential competency based on the existing curriculum guide is select electric and hydraulic tools. The learning task of the learner is to request tools and equipment. And then, the contextualized or localized learning task for the learners at home is to list down the available tools at home and fill out the request form. And after filling out the form, be able to make a comic strip on how to request tools. The learner can assign their house partners or whoever is available to be the toolkeeper. The learner should provide dialogues using the guidelines provided by the teacher. So these are only suggestions po. Using this very simple activity, the learner can experience firsthand how to request for tools before the job, even if they are at home. The next competency is under select electrical and electric and hydraulic tools. It has several learning objectives since it can be taught for 5 weeks. One of the learning tasks that we can ask our learners to do is inspect tools and equipment for damage prior to its use and report damaged tools. Since our learners have available tools at home, they can inspect them and provide assessment whether they are functional or not. Those which are not functional anymore can be further assessed if they can still be prepared or they are for condemnation using the form provided by the teacher. Next po. The most essential learning competency is to maintain electric and hydraulic tools. The learner's activity is to check the condition of the electric and hydraulic tools and be able to lubricate electric tools. And the contextualized activity or localized activity po is to ask the members of the community if they have electric tools and be able to check their conditions dahil mga electric tools po medyo mahal. Sometimes a household cannot afford to buy electrical tools. So if there are tools in the community, you can use them. If there are no tools or electric or power tools in the community, just look for available tools at home. Be able to lubricate them using available lubricants. Next po, install electric metallic tubing. So this is one of the challenging essential competency for the new normal education for grade 9. However, most challenging at the same time, one of the most important tasks under EIM 9. This is installation. I know that my co-EIM teachers will learners enjoy installing different types of circuits, be it on board wiring installation, house wiring, or even building wiring installation. The essential competencies under wiring installation include install electric metallic tubing, install wireways and cable trays, install telephone terminal cable, and install cable bridge. Lahat po yun kasama sa wiring installation. All of these have identical learning task or performance output. The learner's outputs here are considered major performance output, which they will going to perform at the end of every quarter. The learner's activities include prepare tools, install electrical metallic tubing, observe safety precautions. The major performance output of the learners here every quarter is install a circuit using the mentioned requirements, using recyclable, localized materials available at home. Follow the specification set by the Philippine Electrical Code. Be able to provide a rubric for scoring the performance and the output. Later, I will present to you po a sample localized major performance output in EIM 9. But for the meantime, let us proceed po sa electrical installation and maintenance grade 10. There are two essential competencies here which are being taught for one school year. Imagine that there are only two competencies for grade 10 electrical installation and maintenance. The first competency, which has the following objective, that can be contextualized. Actually, one competency should be taught for two grading periods. The first competency po is select the wiring devices used for floor and ground fault current interrupter. The performance task here is to interpret plan drawings for the selection of wiring devices. And then we have the localized or contextualized activity. Draw the floor plan or electrical plan of your own house, indicating the electrical symbols and signs. Let the learner submit his work and ask other students to interpret it to be submitted the following week. So, isa sa mga competencies natin. The last competency among the competencies in grade 10 EIM is install the wiring devices select the wiring devices. This is just the same po yung unang competency but with different objective. Select wiring devices used for floor and ground fault current interrupter. Select appropriate personal protective equipment. The contextualized or localized activity is entitled Dress Me Up, using available materials at home like use Manila paper, newspaper, calendars, etc. Design appropriate PPE and be able to wear it and ask the assistance from any family members. And then we have po the next learning competency, install the wiring devices for floor and ground fault current interrupter based on PEC standards. The learning tasks here are interpret plan drawings based on the job requirement, install the wiring devices for floor and ground fault current interrupter with accordance to PEC or the Philippine Electrical Code, observe safety procedures in installing the wiring devices for floor and ground fault current interrupter in accordance with OHS procedures. Using the learning task as a major performance output, which is contextualized or localized, is to install the different wiring devices using substitute or recyclable localized materials available at home, following the specifications under the Philippine Electrical Code. Follow the plan provided by the teacher, and of course, they should be able to include a scoring rubric so that they will be guided on what to do. For their dahil po yun ay isang major performance output. This output po can also be interactive in such a way that we can just change the wiring connections and a new type of circuit will be made. Now po, for the next discussion, this one po is a suggested localized material. instructional material po for grade 9 and 10. This can be the major performance output of our learners. I repeat po, this one is only a suggestion. If you can think of much better instructional material and major performance output, you can still use them po, provided the essential competencies should have been covered and achieved. So, pwede po ito sa grade 9 and grade 10. I repeat po, suggestion po ito. You can adapt this one in your school po kung available. The learner's activity or performance task is install the different wiring devices using substitute, recyclable, localized materials available at home, following the specification under the Philippine Electrical Code. Follow the plan provided by the teacher. It is very easy for us to ask our learners to install different kinds of circuits using different wiring devices during face-to-face learning sa loob ng classroom natin. Now that we are experiencing the pandemic, not all students have materials at home, specifically electrical supplies, which are very expensive. At the same time, learners are still not allowed to go out. Our utmost concern is the health and safety of our learners. Before the activity, remind the learners and include this in their modules, the safety measures, importante po to, that they need to strictly follow. EIM deals with electricity. We all know that po. Even hindi nagtuturo ng EIM, alam po natin na electricity ang nilalaro natin sa EIM. And we know for a fact that when electricity was not properly used, what will happen to us? I mean, like the wirings are not properly stored. This can inflict harm to the person. Or for worst case scenario, this can cause death. At marami na pong nangyaring ganito. So we avoid that po. So the learners, together with their parents po, must be oriented well with the safety protocols. In the suggested localized instructional material, we will be using a device that will convert AC to DC for the safety of the learners if they do not have batteries at home. So yung sa atin lang po hanggang ano lang po tayo, battery-operated circuit. But if you do not have battery, dahil medyo mahal po ang mga yon, you can use a device that will convert AC to DC. I will going to show to you po mamaya kung ano pong device ang gagamitin natin para ma-convert po natin ang AC to DC at maging safe po to sa ating mga learners. For our instructional materials, we have to prepare the following materials which are needed. The first one, we have, of course, we need to use electrical boxes, which includes junction box and utility box. The learners can use, if they do not have those actual materials, they can use old electrical boxes if they are available na hindi na po ginagamit. In case the learners do not have these materials, electrical boxes available at home, there are substitute or recyclable or localized material that they can use. For examples po are, what naka-flash po sa screen ninyo, plastic cups, ano pa po yun, paper cups, plastic bottles, cellphone, even cellphone cases po. We can also use bottle cups if there are no available materials, aside from those flash on your screen. If there are materials which were previously used and you want to recycle them, disinfect them first. Po, importante, using what alcohol or soap and water. Kung po natin gagamitin ba yung plastic bottle, kung sinong uminom or napulo lang ng bata tapos pinagawan natin ng output, one of the materials, kailangan i-disinfect muna po. After collecting the materials as substitute for electrical boxes, be able to cut up to the level po ng electrical boxes. Alam naman po ng mga bata because they are grade 9 and 10 learners na po. So that they will serve their purpose. As a member of the family to assist, lagi pong nag-ask tayo ng assistance from any member of the family na medyo marunong. The second material needed na performance, yan po is conduit. I know our co-IIM teachers are familiar with these materials. Ne? Kung wala po tayo niyan, we can use old hose, straw from soft drinks or milk tea. Kaya ng kung kanina, kailangan i-disinfect muna bago po natin gamitin. And then we have po, of course, switch. Switch is a part of the circuit that connects and disconnects the flow of electricity. Alam naman po natin yan. Remind the learners not to get the switches at home. Baka tanggalin po, magreklamo yung magulang sa atin. This will harm not only the learners but also the members of his family. Remind them that they should not remove any wiring device at home, especially when they are in use. Di ba po? So dito po pwede tayong gumamit ng switches coming from all the toys na especially yung mga may remote controls, pwede po natin gamitin yan. They can also look for old electronic gadgets where they have switch on them. Tell the learners to be resourceful na lang po. Next po is our lamp holder or the receptacle. The learner can use the old receptacles which are not installed at home, and they are still functional like the other materials discussed. The learner should be reminded not to uninstall, kagaya po ng kanina, no, yung mga previously installed. So, pwede po tayong gumamit ng mga old receptacles. Next po, we have male plug. So, this one will be our connection to our source, but we will not use male plug. We will just use battery for the safety of our learners. And if you do not have batteries, you can use charger, specifically the 5 volts one. So, pwede po yun. Kahit na mahawakan ng bata yan, hindi siya makukuryente. Yun po yung sinasabi ko po kanina. Later, we will going to demonstrate po how the charger works. Next po, we have wires. Of course, there are no other substitute for wires or conductors. We can use old wires. But they should be functional. Kung meron man po silang mga na insulate, dapat po nating i-cover yon. Next po, we have bulb. Diba po? Kailangan natin yan para matest natin yung circuit natin. Yung gagamitin po nating bulb, since charger po yung gamit natin, we will use a bulb 5 volts but not below, dahil alam na at I know alam po ng mga electrical teachers po yan. We can use this bulb 5 volts, pwede rin po yung mga LEDs, kagaya niyan yung sa remote control po, yung LED. Kung sira na po yung remote control, wag niyo naman pong sirain yung remote control. Yung remote ng TV. Or pwede rin po yung mga Christmas lights natin na sira-sira. Pwede po tayong kumuha doon. Next po. Now that we all have the materials needed for the wiring installation using localized materials, let us make it now. Do not forget to ask learners to wear available and appropriate PPE for safety reasons. The teacher can list down the steps on how to make the circuit. We can also make a video presentation po on how to install the circuit. Kasi mas maganda po kung mayroon siyang step-by-step procedure. So sa mga pwede pong mag-online, pwede po nating i-video yung sarili natin para at least tayong makikita ng mga students natin. And for those naman na walang gadget or no internet connection, pwede po nating mag-take ng picture, tayo pa rin po yung bida doon, and pwede po nating ilagay sa mga modules nila or self-learning mode or sa last po nila or learning activity sheet. The first step po is to prepare the wiring plan. So, pwedeng yung bata po yung mag-prepare ng wiring plan, or pwede po tayong gumawa ng description, tapos gagawin po ng bata yung plan, or gagawa tayo ng ibang diagram like schematic, co-convert niya into actual wiring diagram. Measure the dimensions indicated in the plan. So para maging maayos po yung output natin, kailangan meron po siyang dimensions. At ang mga dimensions po na to ay para maging presentable yung ating output. At the same time po yung measurement and carrying out of measurements and evaluation and measurement and calculations ay na-carry out po nila dun sa competency. Position the electrical boxes according to the plan. So kailangan naka-position po sila. Mount the electrical boxes, and then pag naka-position na po sila, ima-mount na po natin, lalagay na po natin in place. And then insert wires on the conduit. Po. Place the conduits. And I mean number 5, place the conduits. Number 6, insert wires on the conduits. And then the 7th one is to splice the wires. Number 8, mount the receptacle or lamp holder and the switches on their respective places. Connect the wires as indicated in the circuit or in the plan. No? Connect the wires as indicated in the plan and then test the circuit. The circuit is battery operated only. There is this is the reason why it is safe. However, the learner still needs to ask assistance from parents, guardians, or household partners while they are working. It's important to observe safety measures all the time. Next po. Okay, a sample wiring plan is provided for the learners. It has the dimensions and the position of the materials they are also indicated. Be sure to check first the plan po of our learners before they install it, or they will just simply wasting their time kapag po hindi natin chinek tapos mali pala yung plan. So dapat yung plan po lahat naman po tayo marunong bago po tayo, like sa pagtuturo, gumagamit po tayo ng plan. So, check muna yun kung tama po yung tuturo. Ganon din po sa wiring plan. Dapat check muna natin bago natin pagawa sa bata. And then for our description, 3 loads control by 3 single pole switches following the specification of the Philippine Electrical Code. Note, ask help from the family members. Be guided with the precautionary measures before installing. This is our sample output. As you can observe, we made use of different recycled, localized, and substitute materials presented earlier. The materials are properly installed and mounted. You can see on the first picture, the finished product but was not yet live tested. On the second picture, you can see the output that it is already functioning. The loads are functional. On the third picture naman po, while it is functioning, the wires are being touched by my co-teacher. And you can see that it is, although the wires are exposed, they are spliced, the joints are not covered by electrical tape. Hindi po siya na-kuryente for safety. I can open po my camera. Jeff, so that I can show to them the actual localized material that we have made together with my co-teacher here. So this is one of the very simple lang po na activity or na major performance output ng bata. Sa school po, nag-i-install sila sa mga malalaking boards, pero dito po kahit maliit na board, at least we have achieved the objective of our competency po. So this one po. So as you can see po, hindi pa siya lighted. Kung makikita nyo po, exposed sa mga wires niya. So kung walang mga electrical tape sa mga bata, safe po sila. Hindi po sila makukuryente. Pero kung merong electrical tape, follow pa rin po natin yung procedure na kailangan lalagyan po natin ng electrical tape sa mga joints for safety. So as you can see po, ginamit po namin mga switches, yung mga nakita lang namin sa mga lumang laruan. Buti na lang may 3 lumang laruan kami nakita. And then ginamit po namin mga boxes takip ng bote ng toyo ng isa naming co-teacher si Ma'am Grace. Ayun, wala nang takip yung mga bote ng toyo niya. Buti na lang wala na pong laman, tatapon na. And then we also have our lights, LED lights po here na pwede po naming na kinuha lang po namin sa mga lumang mga remote controls. Yun naman pong conduits niya are from old hose ng lumang aquarium na tinapon. At yung mga junction box po dito, yung lalagyan ng cotton buds, sinati po namin. So this one po is one of our localized performance output na pwede yung namin gamitin. So ito naman po, charger na 5 volts ang gagamitin po natin. So ilalagay po natin siya sasaksak po na, ipa-plug po natin siya ipa-plug po natin siya sa extension cord. Ito po yung extension cord. So, lalagay po natin. O, yan. And then, turn on na po natin. Yan, umilaw na sila. Pangalawa. Okay. And then yung pangatlo po. So as you can see po, yan. Okay, so actually makita nyo po, iba-iba po yung color nila. So kung ano lang po yung available. So if you can notice po, ito yung mga exposed na mga wires. So kahit hawakan mo po ang mga yan, hindi ka makukuryente. Yan, exposed wires po yung mga yan. Hindi ka makukuryente dahil yung body nyo po kayang i-resist yung 5 volts dahil sobrang hina lang po ng 5 volts. No? So ang body po ng bata ay kayang i-resist po. So sa atin po, hindi natin, thank you very much po sa uh, um, kahit ganun po, kailangan pa rin po natin na i-remind yung mga estudyante po natin about safety po, kahit alam po natin na hindi sila makukuryente. So that po pagdating po ng time na may face-to-face class na po is hindi po sila malilito, baka hawakan pa rin po nila, akala nila pwede pa rin po. Just put emphasis po on that. Always habang nagtatrabaho or bago magtrabaho, habang nagtatrabaho, and after magtrabaho po ng bata, kailangan i-remind po natin siya, i-remind po natin sila na they should always follow safety protocols. And of course, their output, kailangan po natin siyang i-evaluate using a scoring rubric. So, meron naman po tayong mga available na rubrics. We can localize din po yung rubrics na gagamitin natin. Depende, halimbawa, pwede tayong magbigay ng points or weight doon sa mga materials na ginamit, doon sa appearance, di ba? Doon sa functionality, and the like po. That ends po my presentation for this afternoon. I would like to say thank you to all the teachers. Thank you for continuing to teach our children from afar during the coronavirus. Thank you to my co-teachers here who waited for me. Special mention po to our principal, Sir Ricky Balingit, for this opportunity and pushing me to be one of the speaker, and of course, siya rin po yung sponsor ng sinuot ko ngayon. Si Sir Elmer po. So, thank you very much po.
Way to go, sir, no? You are so kind and selfless, and you make sure that you share po your skill, no? Selflessly. Indeed, no? In every teacher success, there will always be a great servant leader na sumusuporta, ne? Shout out to Sir Ricky Balingit, no? Here my late and former school head, Dr. Noel Bacani, no? I miss him so much. And of course, my current principal today, Sir Joel Mendoza, no? They are very supportive, no? Talagang maging kang successful if you have this kind of teachers or this kind of principal. They are very humble and supportive. Congratulations, sir. And ako ating pantagapalakpak niya, sir. And ako
It's Enrique po ito.
Sir, na ako po magtaka, time will come. You will go far enough po, ne? Kaya katamo pong destiny, kaya katang career. Because of your very supportive school head. Congratulations po, kudos.
Thank you po.
All right, thank you po again, no? Again po, I think we can now proceed to our last speaker for this day, no? Indeed, even that I'm not my area of concentration is not in the particularly in the EIM, no? I was able to grasp some techniques that we can use, no? The thing is, it's all about contextualization, ne? Etamo sabihin na etamo you or etamo alata mo available na gamit. There will always be ways, no? A lot of ways, no? To use as an alternative without compromising the objectives or the things that we need to learn. Thank you so much, Sir Narndi, for that very fruitful discussion. So as we move further, no, to our last speaker, ne, I think you already met her, no, particularly if you are a TLE teacher, no, for how many times or in every speaker or seminar or trainings, no, she's always there, no, to support our EPS, no. Uh, to discuss the topic relevant to ICT, let's listen to a kind heart yet intelligent woman, the MT1 of San Roque Dau High School, Madam Simonet Cruz, and let's all give her a virtual round of applause. How are you, ma'am? Ayan, fresh?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Fresh na fresh, mama.
Salamat, sir. Salamat.
All right, so I'll not hold you so long. I think you are now ready for your topic. Kumusta dyan, ma'am?
Okay naman po, sir.
Okay, ne?
Wala mo na silang break, sir.
Okay. I think that's good, ma'am. That's a good point. Ne? It's a good point that I showed you in our live so that we can have our 5-minute break po, no? To at least attend our personal needs. Ne? Again po, on our time, it is already 2:26, no? We can entertain questions, ne? Thank you, Ma'am Simonet, ne, for that reminder. Ne? We can have
Yes,
a
sir.
5-minute break po so that we can attend in our personal needs. Ne? Balo ko talagang tutok na tutok tayo in our session kasi our speaker is very brilliant. Ne? Talagang master na yung EIM. Anyway, if you have questions or suggestions, no, you can actually raise it now, or clarifications that you want to clarify, no? Tinta mo po bang questions, suggestions, no? I think since from the very beginning po na our first speaker, we don't receive any questions, no, clarification. I think that can manifest that we have our very good speakers, no, competent, ne, and able teachers coming from the different schools, no, and I think SDO Pampanga is so blessed to have this kind of talents, ne, the great minds, no, of DepEd Pampanga, particularly in the learning area of TVL. Of course, our leaders, no, they are the ones who are actually supporting us, who give us inspiration to have this kind of strength, knowledge, skills, and the right attitude for this. All right, so we still have, I think, 3 minutes. There's no question, no, so far. So still have 3 minutes. You can attend our personal needs, ne? Okay, so sige, you can share your learnings, no? Sige, you can post it here. You can comment down below what you have learned, no, or realization about life, no. And the good thing about it, no, I heard actually this term that Sir Nandi have been mentioning a while back, no. Sabi niya, you should have a learning partner, no, house partner, no. Sana all my partner. I'm just joking. So actually, it is included, no, kahit ang BELCP. Though it is not particularly not a house partner. I forgot the other term, no, for the appropriate term for that. But the concept of it, no, it's just the same, no, because as we all know, it takes a village, no, to raise a child. More so in education, it requires our friends, our relatives, no, particularly our parents, to support our education, not only financially but also give us moral support in answering our modules or answering the modules of our students, no. Masanteng yung punto ita na may mention niya itang house partners kasi so we all know TL is all about skill-based, no? Lalo na itang banggit na po din ng DepEd Order number 31 na Series 2020. No? It's all about the interim guidelines for the DepEd Order number 8, which is the assessment. Ne? May ganyang 70% itang performance task and 30% yung kay written work. Ne? Sana may ka% for audience impact. I'm just joking. That is the challenge that we have, no? How we can measure the performance task if it requires 70%, no? And it actually answered all these questions because of this webinar, no? They provided us strategies, no? Or this what we call pedagogical approaches that we can utilize po in our instruction in the new normal setup. Ne? But as what we are always telling to all the viewers, no, or to our lahat ng nanonood dito, if you have a better strategy or approaches, no, you can use those things, no. We don't want to oppress you, no, and to require you to use this. Kaya nga propose or suggestions, no, and we believe the fact that there's no such tool that can measure all the things that we need to measure, no. Alwata mo, ne? Ran favorite dating cliche na Sir Jerome Tongol, na kay Juan ay kay Juan, ay kay Pedro ay kay Pedro. Definitely, we have different measurement to address the peculiarities of our learners, no? In this what we call educational landscape. I think we are now ready, no? Since there's no question, no? It's all about congratulations, no? It's just, it's very evident, ne? Sir Nandi, magaling yun. I think, abitan kayo ulit eh. Ma'am Simonet. Ma'am Simonet, how are
Yes,
you?
sir.
Ayan, ma'am, ha? Kinatak na akong kinatak.
Para sa
Break.
ano, diretso na lang po. Okay.
Habang we break lang. Anyway,
Yeah.
Ma'am Simonet, I think you are now ready. So, take it away po.
Okay, sir. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. I'm Ma'am Simonet Santos Cruz from San Roque Dau High School. With respect to our concurrent officer in charge of the Office of the School's Division Superintendent, Dr. Nicolas P. Capulong, to our two assistant school superintendent, Dr. Melissa Sanchez and Dr. Shirley D. Sipagan, our regional supervisor in TLEs, Sir Reynaldo Castillo, to our CID Chief of the Division of Pampanga, Dr. Celia Lacanlali, and to our supportive EPS in EPP, TLE, and TVL, Ma'am Maria Carmen Evangelista, and Sir Gary De La Cruz. And to all technical working group headed by Ma'am Catherine Pingol, and to all TLE teachers, participants. And I want also to greet our two school heads, Sir Ricky Balingit and Ma'am Jane Gatus, and to our beloved PSDS, Ma'am Kay Yuson. Again po, good afternoon po. Welcome to our webinar workshop on pedagogical approach in teaching EPP TLE, specifically TLE, no, in MELCs in the new normal. Okay. I'll be discussing about ICT, preferably CSS, but I'm going to tackle also some of the other ICT mini courses. Okay. So, but before that, I'm going to read a quote. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. By Brian Herbert. Okay. So the point that you are here with us is already a gift to gain some knowledge or inputs added from your learnings. And of course, your willingness to listen. So hopefully you're going to stay with us until the end of this session. Okay. Now, the objectives of this webinar, number one, orient TLE teachers on the appropriate pedagogical approaches in the new normal in education. Identify skills to be contextualized for distance learning modality in ICT, CSS. Develop instructional materials design for distance learning. And identify different delivery models and online applications that can be used in online learning. Okay. So, but before that, let us have a game. Okay, let us have a game. It is what we call language game. It's called the Giveries. Siguro po familiar po kayo dito. This is called a language game. Yung sounds like po siya. So, I just like you to answer dun po sa ating comment box, and then our technical committee will going to see your answers there. So, kasi hindi ko po kayo nakikita. Okay. So, parang ano lang po to, additional dun sa ating break kanina to refresh. But the words that you're going to see here are related to our discussions. Okay. So, let's start with the first word. Yan. Ano po kaya to? So please answer. Okay po? Yes. Ang answer po nila ay Google Meet. So, I'm sure nakuha niyo po yung answer, no po? Okay, next word. So, by the way, ano po yung si Google Meet, di ba? One of our online platform, si Google Meet. Okay po, next po. This one. Okay. Tapos na po ba? Nakuha na po? Okay. Yes, technology. Tama po, technology. Technology. Okay. So, technology, ito po yung pinaka-trending ngayon po natin, no? We are using the ICT or Information Communication Technology. Okay po. Next po, next word. So, word po. Okay, we have curriculum. Curriculum. So, ano kasi yung curriculum po natin ngayon? Alam po ba natin yung ating curriculum? Okay, K-12 Basic Education Curriculum. Okay po. Next po. Yan, ano po yan? Yun na po. Kuha po ninyo. We have computer network. Yan, okay. So, sa CSS po, alam na alam natin yan, no? Sa mga nasa computer. Okay, so under sa CSS. Okay. And the last, but not the least, we have second to the last pala. Okay, ano po yan? Meron pong nag-message yata, no, sa akin. Siguro nag-answer sila. Okay po. So, ano po yan? Yan, education must not stop. So, kanino po familiar yung, ano yan, yung term na yon? Education must not stop. So, ito po yung sinasabi ni Madam Briones, Ma'am Briones, that education must not stop. Even though meron tayong nararanasan ngayong pandemic, we have to continue po ang pag-aaral po. Okay. So, for our students. Okay. And the last but not the least, this one. Ano po yan? So, we have development of modules. Napaka-timely po nung ating yung development of modules na yan because it is used by our students, no? Kasi modular po tayo ngayon. Ang school division office of Pampanga po, o ang division of Pampanga, we are having this modular. Opo, okay. Modalities natin ay yung modular learning modality natin. Okay po. Okay, so at least lahat po sana nakapag-answer. Yan. Okay po. So yung mga naka-perfect score po, pag nakita po lang po tayo, doon po tayo magbigayan ng mga awards or gift. Thank you very much for your participation po. Okay, next, move on. The entire world experiences a health crisis. So, bakit nagkaroon po tayo ng mangyayaring ganito na hindi po tayo nagkikita-kita. And nandito po tayo sa sitwasyon na ganito. No po? Because the entire world experiences health crisis nga po as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This has given birth to the new normal life and consequently the new normal education system. This situation challenges the Department of Education, Schools Division of Pampanga to adapt to the new normal education system and continue its mission of education during this emergency. To respond to this challenge, this learning continuity plan has been prepared for implementation this school year to ensure that education continues during this emergency. Another one po. Sabi nga po ni President Duterte that no face-to-face classes shall be held until vaccine for COVID-19 becomes available. So up to this time po, wala po tayong face-to-face because wala pa po tayong vaccine na available. Because we want to secure, we want to be sure na everybody will be safe. Po. Kaya nga po, nilabas po nila tong learning delivery modalities this school year 2020-2021. Pending issuance of the left order of the policy guidelines on the implementation of learning delivery modalities for the formal education. The curriculum instruction strand of the DepEd Central Office provides suggested strategies in implementing and managing distance delivery mode. Okay po, or distance learning delivery modalities. Okay po. So these are the distance learning delivery modalities that we're talking about. Okay, so we have the modular distance learning, under distance modular distance learning. We have the digital modular distance learning. And number 2, we have the printed modular distance learning. In letter B, we have the online distance learning. And letter C, TV, video, radio-based instructional. TV, video, MELCs and MAP, and radio-based instructions. And letter D, we have the blended distance learning. Okay, so start po. Okay, so we have to have
Ma'am
first
Simonette, Ma'am Simonette, hello po, Ma'am
Yes,
Simonette.
yes, sir.
Medyo bala mo po mag-robotic ya po yung kaya mong sounds, mag-choppy-choppy ya po.
Okay po, sir.
And in the same time, ma'am, last na mo po niya, ma'am, maglambing kami mo po. Patanggal tayo po itang kay, ma'am. Kita pong PowerPoint na mo, itang present na na paki-hide tayo po ito, ma'am.
Okay po. Wait, sir.
Po. Ito, di ba?
Okay na po, sir.
Sige, ma'am. Yan, ma'am. Hide niya po kanya yan. Tang hide. Ito, ma'am. Click. Yan. Sige po. Balikan niya na po kanya.
Okay, sir.
Opo, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am Simonette.
Okay po. So, okay na po yung sound, sir?
Ma'am, loud and clear niya po, ma'am.
Okay. Let's continue ko na po. Okay po. So, let's have po the modular learning. Okay, modular learning. Okay. A learner may adapt either digital modular distance learning or printed modular distance learning. Okay. So learners with devices at home like laptop, desktop, or tablet may adapt VMDL or printed modular distance learning or PMDL. Learners with devices at home like laptop, desktop, or tablet may adapt digital modular distance learning. Just like us po sa division po natin, we are having this modular learning. But pag sinabi po nating digital, we can able to apply it also for those children or students that has this what we call this, what we have mentioned a while ago, laptop, desktop, or tablet, and also with this internet connectivity also. Siyempre po, paano po natin sila isa-send kung hindi po sila, wala po silang ganong mga wala siyang connection. But meron din po tayong ibang way on how to give them the copy of the module or the SLMS in different format, such as flat PDF, education videos, audio lessons, eSLMS, and others may be stored in CD, DVD, USB flash drive, pen drive na po. Okay. While the printed naman po, dun po sila sa mga printed modular distance learning. In our case po, in our school, most of our students have this modular, printed modular distance learning. Okay po. Next po, self-learning modules or SLMS, which are K-12 compliant, are developed following the ADM learning resource standards. The SLMS are designed to provide ample time for mastery and sufficient practice to ensure that the targeted most essential learning competencies are achieved. Okay po. Learners shall provided with a suggested time frame to work on their assigned task. Flexibility in finishing its module is accorded to learners with respect to their learning needs, characteristics, level of understanding to ensure that they have secured mastery of learning contents, which is also an essential prerequisite for success in the succeeding modules. In our case po, based on our experience, we are allowing our students to answer their modules, give them enough time to answer po yung kanilang mga modules. And then, para po, hindi po tayo sa sinasabing mabilisan. No po? Para po, maintindihan nila. No po? Siyempre, not all our students are fast learners. There are some our students that they have difficulties in some way, na po, and especially with regards with their parents who is going to help them in answering the question, in answering the modules. Siyempre po, we have to consider that also. No po, na maraming mga nagtatrabaho. And we keep on receiving some text messages, comments, and feedbacks from our parents that they are asking for enough time, no, asking for a little time for them to answer the questions. And of course, syempre po, pinagbibigyan naman po talaga sila. Kasi nga po, paano naman po nila masasagot yun or maintindihan kung talagang hindi nila bibigyan ng time. Po. Okay. So, we should understand also their situations. Po. Tinignan natin yung mga sides ng mga parents. Po. Okay. Next po. Number 4, monitoring of learner progress and setting up of a feedback mechanism shall be ensured to help learners meet the most essential learning competencies while seeing the connection of one lesson to the next to reinforce the coherence of the curriculum. Now, we have also what we call, we have to monitor the progress of our learners by after giving their activity sheets, na po, we can able to get feedback from that particular output. So if we are able to see that those things na mga essential competencies na nakukuha ba ng mga bata, and also through their text messages that they can keep on asking some of the questions, which is very good, no, which it's very good naman for us teachers to know kung hanggang saan yung mga estudyante natin, no, para maintindihan nila. No, para mabigay natin yung mga hindi nila na ma-answer natin yung mga hindi nila naintindihan, and for giving them more, no, inputs for them. Okay? And another one, timely and appropriate monitoring and feedback for consultation and intervention purposes should be put in place through various points such as text messaging and audio-video calls, whichever accessible to the learner. So, sino po yung pwedeng mag-asa amin, no? Sino po yung, siyempre po yung mga parents and even our learners also, no? Para malaman po namin through them kung ano po yung nangyayari sa kanila, no? While they are answering the modules. O, para matulungan po natin. And we don't have, sabi nga ng mga, yung previous speakers, even gabi po, nag-a-ask pa sila ng mga questions. So we have to entertain that also. Kasi nga po, may mga parents nga po natin na they are not around sa umaga because they are working. Po. Okay. And also, yung iba naman, they want to ask naman po, pero wala pa po silang access sa pag-a-ask because wala nga po silang load. And then until the time nagka-load sila, doon parang po the time na yon na makakapag-reach out sa mga teachers. That's why mga teachers naman, they can able to understand that, no, na kailangan po natin silang sagutin anytime. Yan po. Okay. Modular learning also, sabi niya, since modular learning will give limited resources, in our case, as in learning ICT skills, other alternative activities could be experienced like identification of uh, identification of tools, familiarization of terms, okay, and drawing or illustrations. Okay? So in our case po, syempre, it's not the same as before that we can able to show our students the parts of the computer, the components, the devices, no? And it's very difficult for us, no? But this time, we can able to use this module by means of just showing the pictures or illustrations. Demonstration of skills on ICT specialization will be done differently from those who can join the online learning. Both approaches, if resources are not available, will not maximize all learning competencies. So what they mean by that? Okay? So, yun ang sinasabi ko kanina, na not everybody can able to have online. But, okay, we can able to make things possible, no? By means of contextualization. Okay? Okay. Next po, we have the online learning. Actually po, kahit hindi po tayo, ang Division of Pampanga po, hindi po, ang ginagamit po natin ngayon ay modular. So, we can able to apply also somewhat na po, yung online. Okay po, to able to reach our students. So, what is a online learning? Refers to a learning delivery modality where the teacher facilitates learning and engages learners' active participation using various technologies connected to the internet while they are geographically remote from each other. The internet is used to facilitate teacher-learner content and peer-to-peer interactions. Online learning may be through a synchronous or asynchronous platform. It requires both teacher and learners to have good and stable internet connection. So, only those who have stable connection po, sila lang po yung pwedeng mag-i-apply yung mga online learning na to. Ang paano mga nasa private school, all of them po, no, online po sila, no, yung mga binibigay nila. Pero they have to follow also yung a number of hours that they have to be in that be online for the safety of our students also. Okay, so we have to select a platform po, in online learning. So online platform is especially developed platform using internet technology for the design, the development of teaching and learning purposes. Okay po. Ano po kaya itong mga to? Okay. So we have the good qualities or qualities of a good online platform. Okay po. Number 1 po, easy access. Paano po kaya to? Okay, easy access. Sa online, pag sinabi natin easy access, user-friendly. Sabi nga nila, di ba, sa mga cellphone natin, di ba? User-friendly. Okay, ano pa? Clear. So, easy to understand. Yung mga steps po nila kung how to use it, ibig sabihin po, madaling maintindihan, ma-access, no? Maka-connect sa kanila, sa ating platform na kukuhanin. Okay, next. Communicative. So, kung baga sa face-to-face, kung sa tao po yan, mabilis kayong magkaintindihan. Di ba po? Okay, so sa ating mga platform, kailangan communicative siya. So, ready to, that gives information, in malinaw po siya. Diba po? Okay. Kaya nga, di ba po, ang pinaka-purpose po ng online natin is to give information. So, kailangan po clear. Po. Next, we have monitorable. No? Monitorable. From the root word monitor. So, namo-monitor. So, actually po sa online, kailangan din po talagang i-monitor not only the teacher, hindi lang po sa teacher, student, but also the parents. Po. Okay. So, check, monitored or check, no, na timely po siya ngayong panahon na to na yung mga estudyante natin, kailangan natin silang i-monitor. Especially, syempre, nasa bahay lang po sila, nandyan tayo. O what if yung mga parents, wala po sila sa loob ng bahay. Okay. Next po. So, as you can see on the screen, di ba? Nakikita niya, okay, na monitor niya. Okay, next po. Sustainable. Okay. So, online platform should be sustainable, able to maintain. Yan. Okay. So, ibig sabihin po, pwede po siyang magamit all the time. Okay po, na-maintain siya, nakikita siya, nagagamit siya. Di ba po? Okay. So, pwede po siya kahit wala siyang pinipili. Okay. Po. Next, we have also different depth and recognized learning management. Okay, so LMS na po, di ba? So meron po silang mga recognized learning management system. So we have this Google Classroom. Siguro po pamilyar na po kayo dito sa mga ito, no? From our previous webinar ng DCT, yan, okay po, di ba? Tsaka yung mga ibang webinar din po natin, nadidiscuss na rin po nila ito. Okay, so we have the Google Classroom. So what is a Google Classroom? This help classes connect remotely. So makakapag-create ka ng group dito ng isang class that all of your students are there. Po, you can check them, communicate, and naka-organize sila, yung time na pagpasok nila. Diba po, you can able to send also your talk just like this, no? Para naka-online din, nagdi-discuss. But all of your students are there. Po. Meron din po tayong natawag na Edmodo. Edmodo. The learning management system constitute, sorry po, may nag-ring. Sorry po. The Edmodo, okay, learning management system constitute tools and resources to manage classrooms and engage students remotely, offering a variety of languages. Next po, the Moodle. What is Moodle? No? Moodle is what we call the Modular Object-Oriented Dynamic Learning Environment. Ulit po, Modular Object-Oriented Dynamic Learning Environment. It is an educational platform that provides custom learning environments for learners where teachers create lessons and interact with learners and inform them of the class calendar of activities, submit assignments, take quizzes, and interact with their classmates, just like other LMS that you see now. Okay, next, and the last, we have the Schoology. The Schoology, this comprises tools, okay, to support instructions, learning, grading, collaboration, and assessment. Okay, so these are the depth and recognized learning management that we can also use on online learning. So, are you familiar with this? This is Facebook. Okay, so another way of social media, sabi na natin, di ba? Dito tayo madalas magbigay ng mga nag-communicate with our students also. Okay, so here are the ways you can able to send this one and news also. Just like Facebook, we have also what is called this one? Messenger. Okay, so meron din tayo nito, no? Okay, so giving messages, and also the Zoom, Google Meet. Sa Drive naman, sa Google Drive, we can able to make our different forms that we can use for our students. Okay, number two, deliver engaging online teaching content across multiple modes. Okay. So again, deliver engaging online teaching content across multiple nodes. We have number one, we have conduct virtual session. So, familiar na tayo po dito. Siyempre, pag nasa online, we can able to talk with our students. They call it virtual. Okay, no? So, we can able to have these sessions na we can able to talk all about your lessons dito, no po? Okay, and interactions with our students. Develop video lectures. Okay, so in here, so the teacher, they can able to see the teacher, na po, nagbibigay po siya ng lecture, input sa mga estudyante. Okay? O, as you can see, ang dami ang makikita po natin yan. Though tayong mga nasa modular po, we can able to experience this kind of giving lectures through videos. Yan po. Okay? So, para mas mabilis po na maintindihan ng mga bata natin. Next. Number three, let your students collaborate. Okay? In the face-to-face nga po, di ba, meron tayong mga groupings, di ba? They collaborate with each other. Even though po sa online, they can able to collaborate. So, because of the different social media, other forms of communications, they can able to talk to, they can able to have their activities with them. Na po, okay. So, sana nga, sabi nga natin, sana all, no, na meron silang mga, para mas mabilis nga po tayo for this time of pandemic. Kaya lang, but we cannot able to have it all, hanapin po, because of financial situation ng marami sa atin. No, that because not all of our students have this internet connectivity. No, minsan pa nga po, meron na nga po sila, pero nahihirapan pa rin po yun because of the place. Po, kaya hindi po natin pwedeng lahatin na pwede po tayong mag-online. But the important there is in the online naman po, so they learn how to collaborate with their classmates. Okay. Share through live chat. Okay, share through live chat. Yan po ginagawa natin madalas, no, pag meron tayong meeting, po, okay, pag nagko-communicate tayo, especially ngayong panahon po na inaano namin tong ating webinar, no, together with the other group. So, nagkakaroon po kami ng live chat, okay, to talk about for this webinar, or for in case of the students naman, or for the teachers naman, for the enlightenment, no, for those queries nila about their lessons. Brainstorm and peer review. Yan. Mas importante nga yan, no? Importante din po yan na they have to have this what we call the brainstorm and peer review. So, kailan nila ginagawa po ito? Whenever they have assignments, yan po, assignments or especially in research, something like that, in mathematics, no? Those things that they cannot understand, able to have this brainstorming. Not only with the students, but also with the teachers. Di ba po? Pag, sabi nga nung mga speakers, from the previous speakers, hindi po masamang magtanong. No? We can able to ask other teachers, can ask your classmates, if you're students, and then you make a peer review of what are you understand with the lesson. Because it will help you a lot in developing na po yung learning ng bata. Okay? And in the part of the teachers naman, it's able to broaden, no po? So, malawakan yung pang-unawa natin sa mga bagay-bagay. Po. Number 4, use effective assessment tools. So, in online learning, so we have different formative assessment tools. So, meron po tayong mga iba't ibang assessment tools na ginagamit doon. So, meron din tayong mga pwede nating pagkuhanan ng mga what they call this, like for example, ng paggawa ng mga quizzes natin, like for this one, Kahoot, no po, familiar po kayo sa Kahoot, di ba? Okay, so very easy to make, no, to craft questions, and then ma-send agad natin sa mga bata. Pwede rin po tayo sa Google Forms, Google Sheet, and then we're going to send them sa Messenger o sa kanilang any form of actually po, when we talk about assessment po, we have this what we call the formative and summative. Okay po. So later on po, we're going to discuss further about the formative and summative assessment of our students. Okay. So in ICT learning competencies, okay. So I have here po the sample map. Okay, sample map of computer system servicing NC2. As you can see po from this side po, so grade 7 to 8 exploratory. So grade 7 po, exploratory po ang tawag po natin sa mga grade 7. Okay? And then dito po sa side, so grade 9 and 12, we have the computer system servicing. Okay po? So, grade 9 to 12. In our case po, we don't have offering na CSS in senior high. So, junior lang po ang nag-o-offer po ng CSS po. Okay. But soon po siguro, when time comes na makakapag-offer na rin po kami o mag-change po kami ng ng courses sa senior high, hopefully nagkakaroon na rin po kami ng CSS sa senior high. But we are also offering technical drafting for ICT. So we are offering, in junior high, we are offering computer system servicing from grade 7 to grade 10. And also, we have technical drafting from grade 8 to grade 10 also. Okay po. We have also this one. So I want to show you this one. So we have the computer system servicing. We have prerequisites po sila, no? We have 160 hours. And then we have also here, so telecom line, sabi niya dito, we have 320 hours. And then 160 hours also sa total po. Ilan po yung total niya? We have, yan, 40. Okay. 540 hours po. Tama po ba? 520 hours po ang kabuuan na makukuha na hours para po makomplete po natin ang computer system servicing NC2. Okay po. So, I have here also po the basic competencies ng computer system servicing. So, meron po tayong sa CSS po, meron po siyang basic, common, at saka core competencies. So, sa grade 7 po, we have 7 basic competencies na tuturo namin, okay? So, actually po, ang main MELCs lang po ay ang grade 7. Ito po yung cover po yung mga 7 basic competencies. So, number 1 po, yung using and maintaining hand tools, performing computer operations, performing mensurations and calculations, preparing and interpreting technical drawing, practice occupational safety and health procedure, terminating and connecting electrical wiring and electrical circuit, and then testing electronic components. So sa grade 7 po ino-offer yan. Okay, next. 7 common competencies naman po. Ito naman po yung sa grade 9. Okay po, grade 9. So we have number 1, application of quality standards, computer operations, performing mensuration and calculation, preparation and interpretation of technical drawing, the use of hand tools, terminating and connecting electrical wiring and electronic circuits, and testing electronic components. So, NC2 din po yan. Okay. So, The four competencies naman po, we have installing and configuring computer system, setting up computer networks, setting up computer servers, and number 4, maintaining and repairing computer system and networks. Okay, so in our case po, sa CSS po, same with the other specialization, wala pong kaming MELCs, but we have our TESDA modules that we are following. Okay po. So doon po kami kumukuha, but following the curriculum guide that we are using before. Okay po. So nandun pa rin po yung ano namin, but the competencies are still there. Okay po. Eh? So doon po kami kumukuha ng mga binibigay namin sa mga estudyante namin. Okay po. Okay, next. Now, so in here, makikita nyo po, okay, so traditional face-to-face learning, ika nga, sabi na natin. So namimiss na yata natin to, no? Talagang kailan kaya po tayo makakabalik sa school natin. So hopefully that this vaccine will comes out, no? Sana po makabalik na tayo sa dati nating ginagawa na with our students like this. Sabi nga natin, this face-to-face learning refers to learning delivery modality where the learners or the learning delivery modality where the students and the teacher are both physically present in the classroom. And there are opportunities for active engagement, immediate feedback, and socio-emotional development of learners. I still remember this picture. So this was taken last year with my CSS students, grade 9 students. Okay, so we are still there having discussions about networking. So we have this what we call active participation of the students, questions, no, feedbacking, of the learners, no, of what what they don't understand regarding their lesson, and that will be the most important na or thing na nami-miss natin, no? Not only, siguro lahat po tayo, nami-miss po natin. Kahit po maingay yung mga anak natin, yung mga bata, but still we miss them. Yan po yung nasa loob tayo ng classroom. Unlike now, no po, no, hindi po natin sila laging nakikita. And hindi natin maibigay yung 100% po natin kamukha dati. Okay. So what will happen now in the new normal? Ano bang mangyayari daw po ngayon, no? Now, so I have this one, yung face-to-face. So ano pong ginagawa ng nasa picture? Okay. So ano po yung ginagawa ng nasa picture? So this my student. Okay. So ang ginagawa po niya ay, yung isa po nag-a-assemble pa siya eh. Okay. So this is what we call yung ating, sa mga CSS po ito po yung PC disassembly and assembling. Okay. So let's take a look of this one first before we go on. Okay. So disassemble, at tapos ito nag-assemble na siya, and naglalagay na siya ngayon ng mga wiring, ng mga cables, ng mga peripherals. Okay? So, siyempre, in doing that activity, diba, you have to be sure that you have to observe safety precautions, of course. Diba? Safety precaution, number 1 yan. Okay? So, you have to use also tables na made of wood, no, to avoid nga yung isa gumagamit siya ng computer table made of wood. Yan. Long table with okay. And another one, so be sure to check that all components, no po, pag disassemble ka, just like when we had our NC2 assessment. So bago mo siya alisin, what we have done was we have to check first the computer. Okay? Especially in our case, in our school, hindi naman maraming tayong computer sa school na pwede natin disassemble agad yon. Tapos baka masira po ng mga estudyante natin. Diba? So, there are some computer that we have to use for this kind of activity. But be sure that they have knowledgeable before you allow them to do that activity. Because as we all know, hindi naman ganun kamura lang po yung mga computers natin. And they are not, we can able to have that, no, anytime that we want to. Kasi nga, wala nga pa tayong pondo. Especially in our school, or in every school, limited lang po yung allotment na binibigay sa ICT. Pag may dumating lang po tayong mga supply from the DCT, yan, may kakaroon na tayo ng mga computers niyan. Yan po. But those computers that we use for this kind of activity, yung pag-disassemble natin, okay, siyempre, we don't want our computers to be harmed or lalo pang masira, sabi nga natin, di ba? We have to keep them properly para magamit pa ng mga susunod na mga estudyante. But before we let them do that, siyempre, we have to be sure na kailangan knowledgeable na sila on how to do that. And with the supervision of the teacher, of course. In the face-to-face, we can do that. Di po? And then, all the materials that they are needed, nasa school. Nasa school yan. Di ba po? We can have them in groupings or individually na gagawin yung activity na to. Okay? Putting the different components in one side and then check them, diba? Do everything para then to meet yung requirements para makapasa ka sa performance task na yon. Okay? But be sure na laging nandun si teacher to guide. Diba po? Especially we are using electricity. Sabi nga ni Sir Nandi kanina, no po? So kailangan they have to be careful in doing this activity, no? Sa face to face. Okay, but this time hindi natin siya magagawa yung ganun ngayon, no po? Okay? So, we have this what we call the distance or blended. Okay. So, sa distance learning, sabi nga natin, pwedeng online or yung blended, yung pwedeng modular at saka pwedeng online. In distance learning during or in terms of printed, so mostly yung sa amin kasi in a form of printed na siya. Di ba po? So papakita namin in the picture. So we had able to show the steps from PC disassembly and assembly. So nandun po yung mga steps nila to follow. Diba po? And then we're going to show the pictures on how to put the different way on how to assemble. But this one, as you can see, this one, naglalagay na po siya ng mga cables. Okay. But in our case, sa grade 7, identifying muna natin i-identify na muna nila yung mga ports doon. So, we were going to show the pictures of the ports. Unlike before, we use the actual computer, the ports, and then we're going to identify it. And then, ano yung mangyayari kapag nagkaroon ng aberya, di ba? Once na mali yung pagkakalagay mo, what will happen? Yun, everything will be given to them actually. But this time, because of this time of pandemic, nasa distance learning po sila. But they can able to see them only through pictures. No po, through pictures lang. And this one, we can see that we have the other one naman, the putting the cables. Okay, proper attaching of the cables, but only in the module or printed. While the other one naman dito sa kabila, so we can able to see that already fixed na po siya, naka-uma-under na po siya. So we can able to show it through the videos, something like that, the steps on how to assemble and disassemble the computer. Okay po, next po. Yan. How to contextualize. Okay? Dahil nga po wala po tayong computer sa bahay, okay? Kasi wala po silang not all of our students may computer sa bahay. Siguro ilan lang yung may maka-computer doon. Especially yung mga kausap po namin, they are only using the cellphone. Pero in case of applying this PC disassembly or yung pinakahuli natin yung pag-attach ng mga cables. Okay, you can contextualize by having this way. For example, putting the cables, okay, from a DVD to the television. Tama po, di ba? Pwede yun, no? Okay, attaching or putting the plug, no, of a DVD or speaker to the television to connect it. So, mayroong siya lang kaugnayan, di ba po? No, parang ganun din sa computer natin. Yeah, pagko-connect or ng mga devices na yan to other devices aside from a computer because you don't have that computer at home nga. Diba po? So this only suggested, sabi nga, suggested way on how, and then you can have your students to take picture on it. So meron na siyang performance task, di ba po? Yung paglalagay niya ng gano'n. Mas okay naman siguro kung wala, kung talagang wala na silang computer, you can use this one and then take the picture and then lalagay lang nila sa kanilang portfolio. Next, face-to-face. So this one, nag-disassembly na siya, di ba? And familiar kayo dito, di ba? Yung pag-i-inventory ng ating mga components, no? Inventory of hardware components, no? Okay. So the teacher will going to give you the sheets, no? Yung inventory sheets. So ibibigay sa iyo sa school and then sa computer lab and then PC disassembly ka na. Yung estudyante ko ito, nag-start na siyang mag-alis ng mga and then after that, lalagay na ililista na niya yung mga laman ng ating mga ng components. They call it hardware components dun sa kanyang inventory sheet. Okay, kung working pa ba siya, kung kailangan na siyang i-replace, ganyan. Ilan ba? So they have to put the name of the hardware, the specification, the quantity, and the remarks. If it is functional or need to replace, something like that, or hindi na siya functional. So face-to-face po yan. While naman po sa contextualize, how to contextualize it. Kasi nga, yung sabi ko nga kanina, wala po tayong computer sa bahay. We can do it like this. Okay? You can do it like this. So, name of appliance, and then, for example, the teacher will going to give you a sheet like this, no? Composed of name of appliances, specification, the quantity, and the remarks. Same with the inventory sheet looks like. Opo, yung ginagamit na sa computer inventory. Okay? So, the name of appliance, kaya lang, the difference is, here is name of components yung dati. Ito naman, name of appliances. So, number one, we have the TV or the television. So, ano po siya? Ano yung specification na brand name, type, or what? Toshiba, LED 55-inch. Isa, and then working. Yan. So, electric fan po. Yan, standard stand fan red. Siyempre, specify mo kung ano talaga po siya, sa anong size niya. Diba? Then, meron ka pang wall clock dyan. Okay, and then working din. And then another one, yung aircon, anong niya. So, ano ba yung ina-apply natin dito? You should know, learn the how to make inventory. Di ba po? Pero in this case naman, at least siya, electrically operated sila. Di ba? Appliances sila. Same with our computer also. Po. Okay, next po. Yan. We have also this one, ito lagi namin ginagamit yan, ginagawa ng mga CSS teachers yan, yung mga nasa, yan, yung, alam ko to, pag nasa third quarter na ba siya, okay, yung paggawa ng, yung Ethernet cable, yan, napaka-importante po yan for networking. So, we're going to teach them how to fabricate Ethernet cables, the two. What are those two? We have the straight through and the crossover. So, but this time, dahil nga walang nga po tayo, sa school, we can able to give them in modular. So sa mga modules lang natin, ilalagay natin yung kamukha nito, ng mga pictures nila, and the steps on how to fabricate it. So blended naman, we can send them through online or discuss them through online. No po, yung mga may access sa online. So you can able to both modular and then in online. Kaya nga po tawag natin siyang blended, no? So it's a combination of the two. Okay po. So mas maintindihan ng mga bata dito kung ano yung paano paggawa po siya ng pag-fabricate ng Ethernet cable. So, kaya lang po, ang kahihirapan po nga dito, hindi nila nakikita ng actual, nakahawakan ng actual, unlike before. Okay po. So, how to contextualize? Yan. Kasi nga po, di ba po, wala po silang gamit. Okay? During our time, nung nasa school pa, okay? So, they provided with the cable, which is what we call the UTP cable. Another one, we have the RJ45, the crimping tool. The crimping tool, sa school lang po siya. Kasi nga, may pagkamahalan po talaga yon. Okay, so sa school lang po ang bumibili. So pinapagamit mo sa mga bata, and also the tester, the cable tester. So doon po sila ginagawa. Kaya lang sa bahay po, kaya nga po pag gumagawa sila sa school, they need to do that in the school. So hindi nila pwedeng iuwi. So makikita nila actually kung paano sila ite-test namin sila mismo, they can able to test it kung umaandar yung kanilang ginawang mga cables. Okay? So they are very excited. I miss the faces of the students, that some of my students before, pag nakuha nila yung na tama yung pagka-crimp nila, yung pagka-fabricate nila, merong iba lumulundag, may sumisigaw, naalala ko tuloy, and then merong iba naman nalulungkot, no? Okay, especially sa mga grade 10 naman, sila naman naka-time na sila. So kailangan they have to finish that in the very fastest time, kasi naka-time limit sila. But unlike the other naman, so I allow them to do it, take their time in making that cables na po. So they are very happy, masaya sila pag nakukuha nila yon. Yung iba na malungkot, but they keep on trying hanggang sa makuha nila yung pag-approve ng kanilang mga cables. But this time, because wala nga silang mga gamit, they can able to do this kind of improvised materials, but to familiarize with the colors of our straight through and the crossover na at mga cables natin. Okay, so they can able to use colored papers. This one, yung mga use na colored papers, but be sure that they have to use yung particular color na kailangan natin. Like for example, orange, green, blue, green, and brown. Siyempre, may kasama siyang white kasi may combination po sila. Okay. So, pwede nilang gawin yan, and then you can able to put them in a bond paper. Post nila doon, and then label po nila ng crossover and then straight through. Po. And then we have another one, suggestion lang po to. So pwede rin po silang gumamit ng mga used popsicles na po, mga papel na ganyan, na mga colored papers na pwede nilang i-design yung kanilang para maging performance task din nila. So, para ma-familiarize din sila, kamukha kanina, sa mga color na ginagamit for fabricating Ethernet cables, the straight through and the crossover. Okay. So yan po, yung nasa face-to-face kami. Ito po yung sinasabi kong sila mismo ang nag-check using the cable tester. Ayan. Tapos po itong may iba sumisigaw, yung iba naman na naiinip na, matagal na siyang nag-crimp or aayos ng mga cables para mailagay yung kanyang RJ45. Okay? But they enjoyed it. Yan po. Sa collaborative activity, because they can able to join in one table, yan po, with the group. Yan po. Okay. But be sure that all the material, I always reminding them to keep their materials, their cables, no, to keep inside or to put them in a plastic kasi nga pwedeng ma-harm yung kanilang mata sa mga putulan or pinag-cut ng mga cables natin. Okay. Now, I have here a sample rubrics for creating a crossover and straight through Ethernet cable. So this one, I got it sa ating module, no, on how to grade them. Okay, but you can able to improve, to make your own, no, based on the outputs given to you by your students ngayong panahon ng nasa bahay sila. Okay, so we have the safety precautions 15%, but this one kung ginagawa ng mga bata ito, okay, it should be supervised by the parents. Pero kung contextualize lang or improvise lang, okay, so pwede naman po ito o palitan na lang yung mga iba pang mga terms. Applied manifested safety precautions while working, adherence to the procedure 30%, follow the procedure systematically, workmanship 15%, organize materials and tools while accomplishing the task and has time management, quality of product 40%, produce a fully and quality Ethernet cable. So dito po yung pinaka-actual na ginagamit namin pag sa face-to-face. But you can able to use another rubrics for in other outputs that your students will going to give you. Okay. So may ito mga suggested outputs po ng sa CSS po, while they are at home. So based dun sa kanilang mga lessons na nasa kanilang mga modules. Like for example, this one, the hardware components. So pwede silang mag-cut ng mga pictures and then put them in a box na po to see all para maka-assemble sila ng buong computer. Okay, we have also the input and output devices. How are we going to put them in a small paper or use illustration board na po. Okay, so we have the different devices also and types of computer. Okay, mga suggested lang po to na pwede na ito nilang maging output ngayong panahon. Okay. Okay. So, ito po yung mga nakikita natin ginagawa ng mga estudyante natin, yung modular and online learning. Okay po. Next po, assessment. Yan. Okay po. Sa assessment naman po, for distance learning, sabi nga nila, classroom assessment, namely formative and summative assessment, shall be conducted by the teachers to track the measure learners' progress and to adjust instructions accordingly. This shall be done in paper-based offline or online assessment format, whichever is appropriate to context and needs of the learners to enable them to participate fully in the assessment process and be assessed fairly. So, syempre po, kahit nasa loob po sila nasa bahay lang po sila, I still remember, mayroon po akong student, no po, mga second week pa lang yata kami nag-uusap po kami sa Google Meet, no? Yung na-meet ko po yung mga ibang estudyante ko through Google Meet. And there is one student there, nagtanong siya about grading system. Okay po. Sabi ko sa kanya, that time kasi hindi pa lumabas tong natin ngayon, yung kung bagong grading system natin. But sabi ko kasi po siya, yung student na yon, he's top of the class. Talagang kahit nasa online pa rin kami, active pa rin siyang mag-participate. No po? So, siyempre, he needs to know kung ano ba yung magiging grade nila ngayon this time. Kung pare-pareho lang ba yung mga grade nila. Sabi ko, hindi. You can able to learn, sabi ko sa kanya later on, kapag lumabas na yung ating bagong grading system, sabi ko gano'n. Now, we can able to, sabi niya, pag sinabing classroom assessment kasi, di ba, nasa loob tayo ng classroom. But this time po, we can able to have it in a form of formative and summative assessment. Pero paano po yun? Okay, next. The learning outcomes in the form of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values should be assessed. Okay, to capture evidence of learning, learners should prepare their portfolio. Yan, meron pong mga portfolio dapat yung mga estudyante natin. That includes written works, products, and performances, whether in hard copy, soft copy, or combination of this. So, yung mga kami po kasi may mga digital din po kami. So, they are sending their outputs through in a soft copy. Po, tapos, pina-folder na lang po natin. Pina-file na lang po namin. And then, the other one naman sa hard copy. And this shall be assessed using rubrics. So, hindi po basta-basta. Kaya nga, siyempre, may mga bata po talagang they are very artistic na po. They have given time, no? Yung kanilang na nila ng oras, yung kanilang paggawa ng kanilang mga outputs. Unlike the other one, hindi ko naman po sinasabing bara-bara na po. Siyempre, may mga bata po talagang pwede na yan, sabi nila, diba? Pero merong iba talaga na that they have given all their time artistically, di po, yung paggawa ng kanilang mga outputs. And then we have testimonies of parents and other adults in the family learning facilitators and community leaders shall form part of the holistic assessment. Siyempre, kaya nga ako po, I ask my students to take pictures while doing the activity, na nakikita po natin silang nag-answer with their parents, kung na-assess ba sila. And then, I keep on asking them, kumusta sila? Sabi ko, wag silang masyadong magpa-stress, take their time, pag gutom, kumain, something like that po. Para hindi naman po sila masyadong ma-stress sa pag-answer ng kanilang mga modules. Yan po. Okay, next. Learning portfolio, e-portfolio is a purposely collection of student work that comprehensively demonstrate not only academic achievement, but also the effort put forward by the students as well as demonstrated progress in achieving learning outcome. The e-portfolio is a digital collection of student work samples where teachers can include the use of technology based such as Word documents, graphics, sound, and video. So, pwede rin po tayong gumawa ng e-portfolio. Sa mga kami po, in the part of student na digital, pwede silang gumawa ng e-portfolio. But sa mga iba, portfolio po sila. No po, yung mga nagsasend o nagpapass po sila ng mga hard copy. Okay. Because sinasabi ko nga po kanina that they can able to see yung kanilang performance, no? Which can be the basis for giving them grades. Summative test shall be administered in school for learners on face-to-face learning. So ngayon, this time po, wala po tayong summative test. But when face-to-face comes, kapag may valid tayo na po kayong normal, okay, that's really the time that we can able to have summative test. Okay? For those who are distance learning, summative test may be administered when physical classes, yung nga sinasabi ko kanina, be allowed and possible in their respective areas or through appropriate online platforms. Okay. Before I present this one also, sabi na formative assessment is a process that involves teachers using evidence about what learners know and can do, inform, improve their teaching. So pag nagbibigay po tayo ng mga every 2 weeks, kung ganyan, pwede tayo magbigay ng mga quizzes or exercises, no? Okay, so, para malaman po natin kung naintindihan pa po ba nila yung kanilang mga sinagot na mga modules. Though, sinasabi po nila may mga answer key doon. So, we have to make other tests na hindi po nila, walang mga choices, sabi nga nila, okay po, para mapatest mo yung understanding nila doon sa kanilang mga modules na sinagot from the previous weeks. Okay po. And then summative test is assessment that is usually administered toward the end of the learning period. But this time po, wala po tayong summative assessment. So, this one naman po, yung ating old grading system based on the DepEd Order number 8, Series 2015. So, meron po tayo dito, tatlo po sila, sabi ang tatlong components. We have the written work, performance task, and then quarterly assessment. So, sa languages, yung mga English, Filipino po yon, AP and ESP, so pare-pareho po sila ng mga component. Ano nila, 30% written work, performance 50, quarterly assessment 30, science and math 40, performance 40, quarter assessment 20. But in our case, so last year po ito, no, 20% written work, 60% performance task, and 20% quarterly assessment. Kaya binold ko po sila kasi ito po yung sa atin. But this time po, so yung grading system po natin based on DepEd Order number 31, Series 2020, dalawa lang po ang mga components natin. We have the written work, and performance tasks. So written work and performance tasks shall be administered to assess the content and performance standards that describes the knowledge, abilities, or skills that learners are expected to demonstrate. Okay po. So the student's learning portfolio that document all the evidences of learning, the grading period, including self-reflections, self-evaluation of performance tasks, guided by rubrics. So lagi pong mayroong rubrics para alam po natin i-gauge. No po? And self-selected best outputs on learning modules. Kaya nga, sabihin po natin sa mga estudyante natin when they are answering or making their outputs, gandahan naman po nila. No po? Though, kasi po, they will be graded from that. Okay, minimum of 4 written works. Minimum of 4 written work and 4 performance tasks within the quarter. So, kailangan po ngayong quarter na po, na first quarter na to, 4 na written work, 4 na performance, so 4-4 po. Preferably 1 in 2 weeks, integrating 2 or more competencies. Okay, so that will be 30% po. While the performance task, okay, performance should be covered, ano po, skills that like board demonstration, group presentation, oral work, multimedia presentation, research project. So, hindi naman siya pwede mag-demonstrate na po. Pero, note po natin that written outputs may also be considered as performance task po natin. So, depende lang po kung ano yung ihingin natin. So, ibahin natin dun sa ibang klase naman po, dun sa written work. But, though it is written in form po, it is considered also as performance task. Considered as, ano po siya, 70%. Total of 100%. Diyan po yung ating bagong grading system po yun. Okay po. Yan. Some sample approaches to MELC. Okay po. So, malapit na po akong matapos. Okay. So, sa computer system servicing, so we have the learning competency from the MELC. So install network cables and cable raceways in accordance with established procedure and installation requirements. So ano po yung sa online-based approaches, tools? Provision of printed materials, synchronous learning through Google Meet, Zoom, or Messenger, video lectures, lesson on network cables, collaborative learning through asynchronous learning using LMS like Google Classroom, Schoology, and Messenger, yung kanina pong pinag-usapan natin. Develop web page learning package for CSS, use of online-based tutorials, assess the learning through the use of Google apps like Google Forms, Google Photos, and video sharing. So sa online po yan. For modular approach naman po for this competency, provision of printed learning materials like modules, activity sheets, or textbooks. Insert activities using the available materials at home. So, kanina po nakita po natin na using this one sa modular, pag yung gumamit po siya ng pag-attach ng mga cables ng DVD going to the television. Yun po, di ba? Yung mga available materials lang po na available sa bahay. Next, assistance through phone call. Okay, pag mayroong hindi naintindihan yung mga bata, dapat lagi pong accessible yan. Dapat po lagi tayong ready. So po, yun ang pinagbibilin po sa amin ng mga school heads namin na kailangan po you have to be ready in answering the queries of our students. Okay. Provision of soft copy of learning materials through USB flash drive for those students who cannot access internet but with computer at home. So pwede rin po yun. So maghingi po kayo ng mga flash drive and then you can have them soft copy para madala po nila sa bahay nila. Use of OTG USB flash drive if they have smartphones but no internet at home, yung on-the-go po na USB na para sa mga cellphones. Pwede po rin po yun. And use of audio-based materials. Okay po. So yun po yun sa ating computer system servicing. I have also for technical drafting. Okay, technical drafting. So learning competency po niya, draw walls, windows, doors, pictures, and fittings according to architectural design standards. Okay. So sa online-based approaches naman, so number one, we have provision of printed materials on the procedures on drawing walls, pictures, and fittings. Conduct and record virtual class using Google Meet, Zoom, and Messenger. Develop video lectures on architectural designs. Collaborative learning through asynchronous learning using LMS like Google Classroom, Schoology, and Messenger. Assess the learning through the use of Google Apps like Google Forms and Google Photos. So napaka demanding po talaga ngayon ng mga paggamit ng Google na po, yung Google Forms na po, kasi very accessible po sila. Next, sa modular naman, distribution of printed learning materials like modules, activity sheets, or textbooks can assist the students via phone call. Provision of USB flash drive, OTG, for those students who cannot access the internet but with computer or smartphone at home. And then ask for the hard copy of their outputs, applying their creatives on drawing walls, windows, and others. So yung mga hard copy na po yun na po yung magiging performance task niya. Okay? So it will be graded. Na po. Okay. Another one, from technical drafting again. So we have observed the importance of proportion in drawing, explain the proper proportion in drawing, and then lay out figures and objects according to illustration requirement. So online-based approaches natin, we have provision of printed materials on proportion and drawing and illustration requirements, schedule and record virtual class using Google Meet, Zoom, and Messenger, provide video lectures on proportion and drawing, promote collaborative learning through Google Classroom, Schoology, and Messenger, apply the use of other apps for layouting and use of online platforms for assessment. Okay po. Next, sa modular naman po, distribution of printed learning materials like modules, activity sheets, or textbooks, assist the students via phone call, provision of USB flash drive or OTG for those students who cannot access the internet, same with the other, submission of hard copies of outputs on their layouts. Okay. So those who are teaching technical drafting po, these are only the suggested activities na pwede po nating ibigay sa ating mga students na po. Okay, which can be used for grading them. Okay. Lastly po, ito na po yung last slide ko. Okay. You can go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Okay. And then we have to face the new normal. With that po, thank you po, and good afternoon. Salamat po, Sir Jeff.
And ma'am, thank you so much for that very meaningful discussion. Actually, I was touched beyond words for those inputs. No, sabi ko pin ma'am, the area of concentration, my area of concentration is home economics. No, kahit hindi ICT, but of course, this is it is applicable. No, that we can use this. No, regardless of specialization. No.
Opo. Thank you, sir.
Much. I'd like to remind po, sorry, I forgot to open my camera, no? Again, thank you, Ma'am Simonet, for that substantial topic or discussion, no? As we move forward to our next part of this program. So as you heard it right, that is our last speaker for this day, no? As what I expected po, Ma'am Simonet, to give a substantial discussion in your assigned topic. No, personally, imadam yata itang ikit kung ebiyasang mimwane, kung kilala yapot, mga taranta lagi, lagi ang kalmado. A genuine example of a kind person, no? Thank you po, ma'am, no? There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our webinar workshop was spearheaded, no? Amid this pandemic, no, I am so thankful for the active participation of our viewers, no, on Facebook Live, no, for the comments po, no, nagpapa-shout out po, and To wrap up our webinar, here are the things that I captured from the webinar po, no? I'll be sharing with you of course, my takeaways po for this webinar, no? I'll be using for us to make to easily understand and to easily to make unremarkable or unforgettable, no, for everyone. I'll be using the acronym EPP, TLE, TVL. So this is my what we call takeaways. If I may share, no, E, no, effective and efficient course design considered retooling. As what Ma'am Binuya mentioned earlier, no, it is so important even that you've been teaching for how many years or even decades. We still need or we still reserve a room for learning. And P is for pedagogy, requires enough knowledge, skills, and the right attitude. You have to remember this, dear teachers, that as what the speakers are telling to us, no, even that we studied a lot, you finish your master's and even your doctoral degree, still, no, in this kind of pandemic, no one is an expert. We need to learn, no, especially inputs, knowledge, skills, and the right attitude, and of course, the important one is the values. And P, and we have for the letter P, no, for the EPP, we have people smart. It's vital to put things in the right place, no? Tandaan natin, no, you are intelligent, but you don't have enough heart, no, to touch other people, no? Definitely, it will not work, no? You will go nowhere. And T, for the TLE, no, we have this what we call team teaching can be considered, as the cliche goes, no? It takes a village to raise a child, 'di ba? Sabi nga po nila, no? Team teaching is very important, no? If you have read if I forgot if it is DepEd order or DepEd memo, it's about ease of instruction, no? They actually are encouraging teachers, regardless of learning areas, if it can help one another, no? Most especially, halimbawa na before the pandemic in doing research, though we are TLE teachers, I admit that we are not that very good when it comes in communication or language. We have flaws then, no? I personally admit I'm not perfect in English or in grammar. So I sought, of course, guidance with my fellow English teachers, no, or my colleagues who teaching English, no, in my previous action researches. We need one another, no, for that. And of course, for the letter L, no, for the TLEL, live to become an inspiration. So this is the thing that I never forget to my late principal, no, Sir Noel Bacani, no. He always mentioning me that you need to become a blessing, whatever it is, no. Everything that we have right now, intelligence, money, material things, this will be vanish, no. As you perish or as the time na matena ka, mawala ka, this will be left in this earth, no. Next, and of course, letter E, we have to evolve, no? We have to evolve because remember these people, TLE teachers, no? Word will not adjust for you. You have to evolve, no? When I say evolve, you have to upgrade. Kasi we'll never be replaced by these computers, but we will be replaced by people who can operate and can manage this in integrating the education or integrating this in teaching, no, most especially in the distance learning. And of course, for the TVL, we have T. We have take every day as an opportunity to become a blessing, no. Sabi ko Pin, no, mabilis ming life, no. Who could have thought, no, a great people like Sir Noel Bacani will as his age, no, a very young age, no, he lived us, no. Imagine that, but rest assured na yung kanyang memories will be in this earth, no, as it, kumbaga, he became immortal because of that sharing, or should I say the way how he touched us, no, how he shared his life to everyone. So take every day as an opportunity to be a blessing. And V for the TVL, we have, as you can see, is it is so vital that, as we all know, this profession is not just a profession. No, it is a vocation. Indeed, ang buhay natin as a teacher is buhay para sa iba. No? Indeed, teaching is the noblest profession. And L for the TVL, as what my wife was always telling to my fellow teachers, Luwid TVL teachers, Luwid TLE teachers, Luwid EPP teachers, Luwid DepEd Pampanga. Together, we can navigate these uncharted waters of the new normal in the education. And with that, thank you so much and God bless. This is Jeffrey G. De La Cruz, your moderator. And don't forget, of course, not to subscribe, but to have our EOP, no, or the end of program evaluation. But before that, it is my honor to, of course, present to you my the TWG members of this. Ayan. So the Technical Working Committee, headed by our chairman and co-chairman, Ma'am Catherine G. Pingol and Sir Jerome G. Tongol. And we have for the moderators, of course, as yours truly, no? My name is Jeffrey G. De La Cruz from Eastern Porac National High School. And of course, we have Ma'am Simonette S. Cruz, no? The very soft-spoken person. And we have Ayan for the program and happen to be also the technical operator. So we have Ma'am Sir Justin Bolos and Sir J.M. Lodi, no? Napakasipag, no? And we have Ma'am Catherine K.D. Verowell and of course the sixth tall guy, 6-footer, no? Sir Jerome G. Tongol, the program. And we have for the next committee, the registration and evaluation, Ma'am Rovi Palyasigan, napakasipag, ne? And we have Ma'am Mary Grace Morales, Lucilia Guevara Felicima B. Lucilia Guevara Felicima P. Bagang, and we have Luz Beminda Bondok. And next, and we have the technical working committee for this. And of course, again, yours truly and Sir Juan. And we have yan po, Ma'am Lovely Nida T. Macalino, Sir Jerome Batak, ne? And we have Ma'am Annalyn Y. Yumol. Then, ayan. So, before we proceed to our EOP, again, I'd like to personally extend my heartfelt gratitude to our EPS in TLE values, no? Ma'am Maria Carmen Evangelista, thank you so much. And of course, to our principal coordinator, no? Sir Gary De La Cruz, no? We know what? Kahit Rugo holiday, no? Kahapon, they were managed to join us, no? In our, in our trial or dry run for this. And for the EOP, no? For the end of program evaluation po, I'll be flashing on your screen for a while. And ito po. Yan. So the day 2 for evaluation, no? So we have the bit.ly /TLE MELTS, no? This is the end of program evaluation. So please mag-evaluate po tayo so that we can actually have our room for improvement, no? Please answer, or should I say accomplish this end of program evaluation. Yan, no? Because this can give us feedback and an opportunity to improve our webinar delivery, right? Ayan, so still waiting for the others. Again po, please accomplish this end of program evaluation, no? And I think Ma'am Carmen and Sir Gary are here, no? Before we finally end, no, to answer questions or to give us final words to this webinar, no, for this second batch. Sir Gary, I think he is now ready, no?
Yes, thank you
Hi,
very
Sir
much,
Gary.
Jeff. Hello, Sir Jeff. So,
Hello po, sir.
congratulations. So, Sir Jeff a while ago gave his takeaway. So, I would like also to share my takeaway. No, my takeaway is EPP, TLE, TVL for teaching. So EPP, TLE, TVL for teaching. It stands for Efficient People Produce Total Learning Enhancement Through Vocation and Love for Teaching. So those are the EPP, TLE, and TVL teachers. So as we end our training today for TLE, I would like to congratulate all our speakers. No? So virtual applause to all our speakers. Napakagagaling ng ating mga speakers, ano? And of course to our to Sir Jeff, our modulator, to our technical working group headed by Ma'am Catherine Pingol and her co-chairman Sir Jerome Tongol. So thank you very, very much and congratulations. Sir Jeff, thank you very much. Tomorrow si Sir Jeff, siya naman ang ating speaker. No? So, is Madam Carmen around? Ma'am Carmen?
Hello, I'm still here.
Yes po, sir. She's around po.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Ma'am Carmen.
So, thank you, Ma'am Carmen. Take it away, Ma'am Carmen.
I've been with you throughout the day. Kaya lang, I've been busy. Tinlang pa Campus Region. At linlang anyaran na tao for ESP training. But I've been with you since 7:30 this morning. So, congratulations sa ating lahat. Sa kay Sir Jeff, no? Sir Jeff, bukas maranong ka. Okay? Salamat po sa mga speakers natin. No? But I am very relieved talagang migalgalan ko nandin kasi it cannot be reached ka talaga eh. Sino na ang kinontak ko, even your co-teachers and your principal, ne? I was so worried. Baluda na kamang magobra. Maranong ka pa karing manggagatas kapag ikaw ang moderator, no, sa mga division trainings natin. Again, congratulations sa ating lahat, sa ating mga resource speakers. Sabi ko nga, yung mga nagme-message sa akin, ma'am, kabyas ng dapo, ne? Kabyas ng dapo, ne?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
oo, ito lang din ang masasabi ko. Siguro, abang nagsasalita din kasi kayo, ito lang yung sabi ko, uso ya pa itang kay acronym ng Ma'am Umali. Together, everyone achieves more. Diba? Together, everyone achieves more. Sama-sama, mi papangadi, mi papanyawop. Sabi natin, Sir Jeff, we are not perfect, especially when it comes to public speaking. Tayong mga TLE group, medyo mahina dyan. But yung attitude natin na magpasahop tamo, na magpasahop tamo ka rin nga tamong who are well versed in communication, ne?
Communication.
Naman mabawas kayong pangatao tamo nung manyatang sahop ka rin nga liwa, no? Again, dakala salamat. God bless us all, and thank you so much for a job well done.
Thank you po, Ma'am Carmen.
See you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Sir Gary. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mama Kang. See you tomorrow again.
See you po, Ma'am Carmen and Sir Gary virtually. And we are looking forward to this one and soon, no, sir. Thank you so much. And guys, to all our viewers, no, again, please accomplish this end of program evaluation. Sir Gary, thank you so much po.
Thank you very much, Sir Jeff. Congrats again.
Thank you po. And yun, mga kainggit na sana all pogi kalaban ng Sir Gary sa naging jacket ng Sir. Anyway, may I request po all the TWG members po that we will be having a debriefing po. And of course, I'd like to acknowledge po the Kwatami Associates po, no, led by our EPS po, Sir Robin, and of course we have my favorite PSDS, Ma'am Bernadette Manyo, and Ma'am Shell is here. She's here also as one of the members po of Kwatami Associates. And to complete their names po, no, I have the list here. Ayan, so we have Ma'am Cecilia Calma and Ma'am Verona Angeles, and of course their head po, or should I say kumbaga mani muna po king Kwatami Associate, my favorite PSDS, Ma'am Bernadette Maño, of course led by their EPS po in the monitoring and evaluation, M&E, Sir Robin David Perez. With that, again, this is Jeffrey G. De La Cruz, your moderator. As we end, I would like to impart my favorite phrase from my previous or my late principal, Dr. Noel Bacani. Be a blessing. Good day and God bless.